everybody, as you filing in, welcome over. If you're coming from the Edric Frost case, we are now heading over to Michigan into our wife in a tank case. Hopefully everybody makes it over here. Let's see what we have going on. So without further ado, I am going to take us directly into the courtroom so we can see what happened on today, which is day 5 of this trial. Husband basically, is accused of redrowing his wife and putting her in a fertilizer tank.
In chambers, it's my understanding that at this point there are some additional exhibits that the parties have stipulated to in terms of foundation and entry into evidence.
That's correct, Your Honor. We would be stipulating to Exhibit 259 and 261.
That's correct, Your Honor. Thank you.
Okay. Is there anything else we need to do outside the presence of the jury?
Your Honor, I believe we would also stipulate to releasing Giada Rowe from her subpoena.
No objection. Thank you.
Okay, so she will be released from that subpoena, and exhibits 259 and 261 will be in. You ready to bring the jury back then?
Yes, Your Honor.
Yes, Your Honor.
You may be seated. All right, people may call their next witness.
The people would call Detective Daniel Dreyer.
Raise your hand. Do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth under penalty for perjury? Yes, sir. You can have a seat.
Can you please state your full name and spell it for the record?
My name is Daniel Drewer, Daniel Drewer.
Where are you employed?
I'm employed by the Michigan Department of State Police.
And what's your title?
I'm currently a detective lieutenant.
How long have you been a detective lieutenant?
For approximately 15 months.
And what was your title prior to that?
Prior to that, I was a detective sergeant.
Okay. And how long were you a detective sergeant prior?
I was a detective sergeant for 3 or 4 years.
How long have you worked for the Michigan State Police in total?
We just eclipsed 12 years, ma'am.
At some point in time, did you become involved in this case?
Yes.
When was that?
That was in March of 2022.
And what was your involvement at that time?
I was a detective sergeant for the State Police Monroe Post, which covers Monroe and Lenawee counties. And the Sheriff's Department Lenawee County Sheriff's Department had contacted the post and asked for some assistance with this investigation. So I was assigned to assist the detective from the county.
Just you that assisted, or were there other agencies?
In addition to asking us for help, the FBI was also involved.
At some point in time, did you completely take over the investigation?
Yes, that would have been August of the same year.
And when you took over the investigation, what was the first thing you did?
There were a number of administrative things that need to be completed. Primarily, taking all the current evidence and documents from the sheriff's department, inventorying them and entering them into our report writing system and property.
Okay, and did you do that?
Yes.
And what types of evidence did you take from the sheriff's department?
There was a volume of documents, video, surveillance video, body cam video. There was some physical evidence, some things that have been sent to the lab for miscellaneous testing, and electronic media.
When you took over the case and took that evidence, did you start from the beginning, or what was your goal?
Kind of a combination. So we conducted a complete review of everything that we took from the sheriff's department. So that was reviewing all the evidence, all the reports, all the videos, but then also starting our own investigation from the beginning.
And after reviewing at least a portion of that evidence, did you interview the defendant?
Yes.
Do you recall when that was?
That was in December of 22.
Where was that at?
That was at the Michigan State Police Monroe Post.
And would you say approximately the first 45 minutes or so was just building some rapport with the defendant?
Yes. Yeah. Actually, the first 45 minutes were not necessarily case specific, more just introducing myself to Mr. Warner.
Okay. Now we're going to get into the actual details of your investigation at a later point in time, next week maybe. So right now I just want to focus on kind of the interview you did. So when you, after that first 45 minutes, what was the first topic of discussion that you had with the defendant?
That would be the weekend of April 24 and April 25, 2021, which is the weekend that D1 disappeared.
So after the first 45 minutes, did you get some general background information from the defendant, such as the businesses and relationships and finances before you got into the weekend?
Yes.
Okay. And at this time, we'll play the first portion of Exhibit 221.
Why wouldn't you do something to me?
My soulmate. I love her.
Okay. And what do you think should happen to someone that did do something there?
I'm not so sure that someone did anything to her. I'm still thinking she just left. She
Okay.
was someone. I mean, she obviously had a probably good plan.
Okay.
She left with someone that they did something. Right. They didn't. I don't think anyone's done anything.
Okay. Can you, kind of in your own words, can you describe Dee to me as a person?
It's the most beautiful woman in the world.
And how about her personality when you talk about her as a person?
You know, she could be hot and cold.
What do you mean by that?
She could be sweet and seductive and just the nicest person in the world. And she could be sad. Within 2 seconds.
How would you describe your marriage overall?
I would describe our marriage as a normal marriage. We had a lot of arguments and disagreements, but I mean, with businesses and things we run, we're going to disagree with some things.
Mm-hmm.
And he had a hard time leaving business in the office, she would bring it home. He didn't agree with her way of thinking, and she'd keep on doing so she convinced you what she was saying was right.
Okay. And how would you describe kind of a normal argument with her? What is that like? The two of you and her?
A normal argument.
Yeah, what's a typical argument like for you two?
And it would start off, she would say, I accuse her of doing something. Or if I catch her, they catch her doing something, you know, she told me she was going to go pick something up, but she didn't do it, but she went shopping. I said, how can you get this part? You know, I had to have it. Well, you know, I was busy and I had to go do this. And by the end of the argument, she had it completely so far away from the park, it'd be my fault, that walkway off.
You're apologizing at the end?
Yes, I apologize. He's just master manipulating her up.
Are you sure I'm married to my wife? What's going on here? I got the same treatment.
That's what I did, of course, I'm 15. I think they're all sisters in the end. Well, that was my biggest thing when we were both home, the counselor, after the fact, she left with almost after he's going, hey, no, she left because you were getting better. You were understanding how to talk to her when you had an argument. And you have to, say, okay, honey, and before you get, I'll be in the middle of something that she would argue. He says, then you have to stop. You have to sit down and say, okay, what's bothering me? Let's talk about it. And I would never do that until close to before she left. And that's when I was finally, boom, the light was on. This is what I gotta do. Men from Mars, women are from Venus or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
I have to sit down and talk to her. As soon as I started doing that, she didn't know how to argue anymore. It's like, oh shit, I'm screwed. Because I said, no, okay, do you tell me what you're doing? What you need to do and how we can fix it. And she didn't know how to handle it. She just get pissed and take off and walk away or leave.
How often would that happen?
Oh, it was once or twice a week. We'd have to argue over something.
Okay.
I shouldn't say arguing, we disagree on how to do things, or we're destructive going, or who this guy's going to get done. It was always a disagreement on things that are getting done for the business.
Okay. And how often would she, to my understanding, it wasn't uncommon for her to leave for a night and go stay somewhere. How often would that happen?
That was random. I don't know.
If you had to guess, how many times a month?
Once or twice.
Okay. And that was consistent.
And it wouldn't be, she would get pissed off and leave, and she'd just go time to go shopping for the day. Things are fun. Or if she's really pissed off, she'd take off and go over to Zach's house and stay for a day or two, or you didn't know. You never knew how long before she'd be back.
Okay.
So that's why I never was worried until after someone went by it. Everything was wrong because it was took off and come back.
And before, I have a few questions for you. And again, before I ask these, some of these are just reports we have from other people. So me asking it does not mean that I think it's true. I want you to understand that, okay? And I mean that sincerely. So we have reports from different people regarding there being violence in your household historically between you and Keith. Can you describe that to us?
High-level conversation back and forth with each other.
Can you describe what you mean by high level?
Just hollering at each other. He would be saying that if Mom was screaming, holler, top rounds at me. I'd be hollering back at her. There's very violence.
And how often would those types of discussions occur?
A couple of times going around here, just having to depend on if the truck got rolled over that day, or if somebody smashed something up, or if what went wrong in the business.
I see, okay. So what would you say if the person that had given us that information regarding violence in the household was here, what would you say to them?
He's got to know that hearsay from what someone else told him.
Okay. What can you tell us specifically about the device that was installed on Dee's car on her Escalade? Some people refer to it as a tracking device. What can you tell us about that? Okay, so we had received information that there was a device installed in the Escalade and that she had discovered it and it resulted in an argument between the two of you.
There's never anything, never argument over this device in there.
Okay, do you know anything about a device in general that she felt was tracking her or something on a vehicle? Is that?
She thought I put one in the Hummer.
Okay, can you tell us a little about that?
I put a diagnostic device plugged into it to see how it's running.
Okay.
There's no runner change in it. She figured it was a tracking device. I could tell where she was at.
Okay, well, why do you think she would feel that way?
She was paranoid. She didn't want anyone to know where she was at, what she was doing. I mean, this is me finding out after the fact.
Okay.
And the Escalade had an OnStar in it, so I could tell where the Escalade was at anytime, every time.
Okay.
The last Escalade, not the first one, just the second one.
Okay, and what about there being rumors of her being involved with other men? What would you say to that?
At the time when she left, I would say no, but now I really don't know how to answer that question.
Okay. You've had a lot of time to think about it. Do you think it was possible? Do you think it was true?
I am leaning towards that it was true, but in my mind, I still want to think that my wife was true to me.
Okay.
What else? I don't know until she's here before I can ask her to confront her. I guess I want to say she's innocent until she tells me otherwise, or there's proof.
Okay. Had that been a suspicion due to the past? Something you had confronted her on prior to this?
Never dreamed that she would be having an affair.
Looking back, were there any indicators that may have been the case back then?
Looking back, there's a lot of things that would make me question. I guess I am.
What things? Can you describe it to me?
Being gone for hours at a time, being gone, not being able to account for where you've been, not wanting to tell me where you've been.
Okay. Anything else? Okay.
This is all stuff that I found out in the last 3-4 months, and a lot of it maybe it's all this. There's so many rumors and so much shit going on.
I'm sure.
Like I say, I'm not going to believe any of it until she's in front of me. I can answer.
Several people have reported instances where you would show up to where Dee was unannounced without having knowledge of your acknowledgement of where she was. Can you explain that to us a little bit?
That's news to me.
Okay, so I can think, correct me if I'm wrong, Carter, but one specific example was she was out to lunch with someone and she had made a statement about not wanting to be around you. You're having some argument or disagreement on that specific day, and you had showed up to where that lunch was occurring.
That's completely.
Okay. And again, I'm just asking what's been reported to us. I'm not saying there's any truth to it, okay? And there's a lot of things like that it's important to hear your side, because when you're only getting one side, it makes it look horrible, right? So we want your input. Can you think of a reason why, other than it's obvious, but can you think of a reason why someone would say that about you?
Not good. I mean, unless you're saying something negative about me, that person.
Okay.
That's a huge thing in a high functioning board of my personality. That's what they do.
I'm sorry, I missed that part.
My wife, after her diagnosis, is a high functioning board of personality.
Mm-hmm.
That's what they do.
Okay.
It's they put the other person down there.
Okay. In some previous interviews and to other people, you had stated that you were not going to get divorced. But that has been a topic of discussion. Can you explain that a little bit to us?
I don't really have this topic of discussion.
Well, that was something that Dee had made sentiments and remarks to other people that was an interest of hers, and that you two had argued or discussed. I don't want to use the wrong word. Can you describe that to us a little bit?
Divorce was a word that we didn't bring up between each other because that was we were going to counseling. We had a lot of things going on, and that was one of the things that we told each other. We're never going to say each other's divorce because that's not what either one of us wanted to get resolved. And once you say the word divorce, then you just start throwing it. It's like a word that you can't take back. I say I hate you. Well, that's in your mind now. You can never take that back.
Mm-hmm.
If you say I want a divorce, just because you're pissed, it's in that person's mind now forever.
Yeah.
So you can't get it out. There's certain things that you don't want to cross the line and say because you can't ever take them back. And that's one of those things that Dee and I had between each other. We're never going to tell each other that. Invitation, yeah, it came out once in a while. But, with the counselor, you can't, there's words that you can't say because you can't take them back. That's the understanding where we were at.
Okay. A couple of things I didn't cover with the business, I'm sorry. Can you kind of briefly describe the business entities you currently have? I know there's a few different ones.
I guess, can you clarify?
So I know you have essentially the farming business, and you've got buyback, which owns some property, and then you do some agriculture work and spraying, and then there's a trucking company. Can you just describe kind of that empire in its entirety?
There was More Farms LLC, was our farming machine. More Farms Services LLC was the spraying fertilizer custom application business.
understanding of, I know you know a lot of things essentially, that's all, so. And I wasn't clear on, we were familiar with buyback, and then I know that the other company owned trucks, and I'm not in the farming, so I couldn't tell you.
You know, DBW investments, that's the biggest, you know, they keep claiming that I sold all the assets of DBW investments. DBW investments didn't own anything other than the Cadillac from Tosca. That's one of the things they're doing.
I see.
Can I just interject for 1 second? You should tell them about your worry firms and your DBA. Because that is something that has become, I think, for the conservative, an issue now, because they were never aware that Dale Warner.
I've always had Dale Warner DBA Warwick Farms from the beginning.
Okay.
And I've still had, well, the last year and previous year, everything is farmed in my DBA now. That LLCs are not DBA, so they're all still there. Everything's going through my personal.
May I ask why?
I'm not gonna deal with conservative. I'm not gonna work my ass off 20 hours a day to pay them.
Okay.
And as far as I'm concerned, the companies are all dead without me. So there's nothing there.
As far as, I'll say day-to-day responsibilities, for lack of a better term, can you describe kind of your responsibilities and Deep's responsibilities when it came to business?
He ran the office. I ran the office.
Okay.
His responsibility was to make sure all bills and payments were made and everybody was paid. Mine was to make sure all the work got done. Everybody got what they made, trucks are on the road, things got planted, things got sprayed. I mean, that was my job.
Okay. So I understand Deep had expressed the interest in being done with the trucking business. Can you talk us a little about that? Describe it to us.
I was confused on what she was talking about on being done with the trucking business, and I understand it clearly now. Because she took so much money out of the company that there was no way to survive.
Can you kind of tell us what she had told you back then about being done, so to speak?
She just kept telling me that the trucking, we're done, the trucking company, we're done. So she kept saying, I didn't understand what the hell she was talking about. And I never knew until a couple months ago when we figured out 6 months after she left what she was talking about. Because I had no clue what she was talking about. She said, we're done. And we got a couple notices that, you know, delinquent taxes are gonna garnish your wages, they'll take money out, they'll tell me about it, gonna take your money out of the account. They're gonna do that, the council, I started questioning, I go, what is this? Don't worry, it's just, you missed a check, it didn't get to them in time, you gotta be. Well, hindsight looking back, when you get one of these, it's more than just a missed a check. It's flat out not paid. So they were scrambling around, pay that one that was delinquent at that moment, so that you'd be off the collection list again, and I'm thinking everything's fine and dandy, well, it wasn't fine and dandy. Zach had been taking and scamming so much money out of the accounts. You know, there was a godsend when she got the PPP money, because that gave another shot in the arm that they could cover that up for another fucking 5-6 months. And it was down to the point where it couldn't be covered up anymore.
I see. Okay.
And I was gonna find it, because they were gonna have to come clean. That was how trucking companies done. How am I gonna deal with it? How am I gonna tell Dale this? I mean, she was in my daughter's soccer game when she called and told me we're all done. 10 minutes ago, it was fine. The day before, we said pizza in the field, and it was great. What's changed? What's happened?
Tell us more about that conversation.
That's right.
When she was at the soccer game in Colter.
She called me, it was 9 or 10 in the morning, she was at the soccer game, and I says, Jaron, and I think Brian was over time on the field and tipped it. And my phone rings, and I said, I gotta take this to Steve. Because I figured she's calling, telling me how much she's doing at the soccer game. And she was very upset, and she says, we're all done, I got into a tie, we're all done. She hung up. That's it. And she would answer my calls all day long. So I'm in complete limbo thinking, what the hell is going on?
Okay. We'll come back to that. I have a couple other questions for you regarding your business. What year did things go negative with the vegetable farm? Is that in?
It was the year after we bought it. We went through, I think 14 is when we bought it, so it was like 15.
Okay.
overall the company and your business finances?
Oh, business finances were in turmoil. I mean, we lost, oh God, close to probably $20 million. We put hundreds of thousands of dollars in redoing buildings and redoing all stuff, a lot of equipment for up there. Because we couldn't pay for, we were rolling the John Deere equipment, which you get a new piece every year. And since we couldn't do that in our dealership here in Tennessee, we were rolling 30 pieces every year. So he would get 30 pieces and it had just very few hours on it. And he would sell it at a competitive edge over everybody else around. Well, he was getting, the economy was slowing down, things were slowing down. Pieces weren't selling, his lots were getting fuller and fuller. My machine are doing trading every year. We did this 7 years, so he's got 210 pieces of equipment that he's got the last 7 years from us. He can't sell it. Well, the deal was, I paid the rental payment and lease, whatever you call it. He pays the note off. Well, they talked me into signing a note with Deere, just a 1-year note. So every year with Deere, I'm supposed to pay that piece off. Well, I don't pay it off. The dealership pays it off. I pay the rental. Well, they had so much machinery they didn't want to pay for the notes off. So they were stuck having to pay all these notes off. $5 million I'm supposed to come up with. Well, I can't. So now all my notes are due. My $1 million operating line at the bank is due. My other $500,000 line at the other bank is due. Well, there's this little clause in the bank's thing, even though you've got all your money in the bank, you make payments to them. If they feel threatened in any way, they can take all the money out of your account and pay all the debts off. And that's the same bank cleans out of my accounts $800,000 that was set to pay everybody else. They took it all. They paid themselves off. They bounced 35 payroll checks. They bounced a couple hundred other checks that we sent off to make all these payments. So where do you think that left me financially? Until
We had heard that notes would be called back, but we didn't know that those pieces of information how specifically played out.
the roll program that we had set up with Deere, and it was my own fault. I should have never let them talk me into doing it, but I was paying a quarter of the amount I would pay on a normal market. I mean, combine payment would be $50,000. I was paying 20. Saying $30,000, who would do that?
Yeah.
And that was the same on all these pieces. Well, the dealership, instead of them saying, hey, we can't take these in that trade, let's keep these pieces another year, we'll roll them back in and go through it. They didn't do that. They just didn't pay that year.
Just let you hold the bag again.
Hold them back. But a lot of it was the manager at the dealership was not telling the owner, Paul Baker, what was going on. Because Paul Baker and I have a great relationship right now. I mean, I own $5-6 million right now with him. So if he didn't know what was going on, none of this other shit would happen probably. This all goes back to communication. There was a failure in communication. I assumed the dealership's manager was doing his job, and he wasn't. He was covering his own ass. So that threw me to the woods. And by the time me and Paul Baker got together, talked about what was going on. What was the shit work out?
And coming out of that financially,
What I had to do to survive is we sold off all the property we had in Manchester. Sears Farms, I wrote a check and bought that. I had to sell another 300-400 acres I had in Britain to pay off the bank to get them off. Well, I didn't pay them off to get satisfied to get them home. And Greg Hardy was in this deal. He's this great fucking guy. He's negotiating this deal and helping, which I've been better off not even having involved. He ends up with 100 acres of mine, and he negotiated the deal that they needed another $500,000 to keep him from losing everything. Greg negotiated this deal. But the other only got 2 weeks to come up with this money. And I'm such a great guy. This good guy, I'll buy that piece of ground from you. I'm only going to give you this much money. Even though it's worth this much money. He set up the deal and goes in his fucking pocket. Cost me over $100,000.
okay.
But he set the deal up, I only had 2 weeks. We're going to come up with millions of dollars in 2 weeks with no one. He set me up to fail.
So can you negotiate this deal directly with the bank for you to have whatever extension X amount and then gave you X amount for that property, basically, right?
That's
Okay.
okay. So he fucked me in the deal.
Not, this is.
I'm still here,
I'm not saying this to make you mad, but it was explained to us that you two, meaning you and Dee, were in turmoil, and I'm being dramatic, ran down the street to Greg's house, Greg was sleepless, and that's what was essentially told to us before. So that makes a little more sense.
No, that's not it at all. He's like, he was trying to come across that he's going to be the savior. Well, his whole master fucking plan was to fuck us out, so he did.
Which piece of property was that?
Maybe there's 100 acres there now. It links. Greg's got about a 300 acre chunk there now.
Okay. And how much would that have been worth at the time on the open market, do you think?
We should have been able to get probably 6,000 or 7,000 an acre for him. Greg only gave me 4.
I see. Okay. Yeah, that would be sour taste in my mouth also. I don't know.
Well, it did at the time, but you know, I'm one that doesn't hold it Greg that much, but I looked at it this way, it saved me all the other properties I had, so it was a cost of doing business.
Mm.
But there is a sour taste in your mouth that, you know, family wasn't there to help his sister like he was trying to come across. He was there to screw her again.
Yeah.
And she was very bitter over it too, but I convinced her to keep her mouth shut and just settle on it. We're here, we'll get through it.
Sometimes, unfortunately, there's a price to pay to reveal someone's true colors too. You made a hefty fine to reveal Greg's true shape.
Paid a lot of hefty fines to do what's cost me. I figured 20 million, but you know, up until we bought that vegetable farm, there wasn't anything that we couldn't do. You know, you feel this sense of invincibility. You know, if you work hard and you go at it, there's nothing you can't do. Kind of American way. You know, if you work hard, you do well. And up until then, there's nothing we couldn't overcome. But up there, we dealt with, we had 150 Mexicans. Lions, sheep. You know, I should not say much more, but give me an example. Well, it's burned in my fucking brain forever. Growing cabbage up there, 40 acre field of cabbage we sent to Mexico. It's all hand weeded. There's about 25 Mexicans in the crew. They're supposed to all go out and weed this D, sends them out to weed. I don't know if they're spraying. And while spraying, there's only 5 or 6 people that still weed. I called the innocence, we'll get the next house. I'm like, D, there's 5 or 6 people out here to cabbage weed. Are they supposed to be here? She's like, no, I said the whole crew out there. I said, so how many is there supposed to be? She said, around 20, 25. I said, there's 5 people here. He says, I'll call and I'll go check. Yeah, there's 25 people punched in. You know, this was the property so big.
Do we be listening to this on 2.0? Oh.
Or the camp, or because we had housing up there. The driver only know 5 people work, 15 on home. You know, the cabins, and that's what's kind of much out there a little bit, but back this way, we'll pick the 5 up, come up to camp, and I'll punch out.
So who's your short straws? Which 5 will work, would you say? Is it a rotation, or how do you get
I don't know
that?
how they did it, but that's unbelievable. I got some red that day. But Andy did almost everything he did.
Can you even understand anything he's saying, Lynn? Because I can't. And I had a volume booster.
They were taking selling the Myers and Grocers that we were hauling on the truck. That had distribution of Myers and Grocers, but they were selling it. They're taking it out the trucks.
So you get out of that financial trouble. Can you describe what your financial situation was like, you know, April 1st, 2021, what was it like that?
We were struggling. I didn't think, well, we were struggling. And that's struggling since we were also the operating loans. And, you know, it's changed. The prices really were. And they finally got it up with a group.
I understand you had to talk to things at the prices where they were.
Corn prices. Okay, I mean, back when things were rolling good, it was 7,000 for corn, $15 for beans. Corn's back down to 4, beans were down to 9 or 8. So I mean,
probably with the same operating costs. So
we're operating at loss.
Okay.
So it was tough, you know, and it was hard because we're paying off all that debt.
If the farming is struggling that much, what was keeping you afloat?
Work harder, do more.
In which way do you describe it?
I said, we're trying to today, we're 18, 20, you're farming more around, you're trying to do more custom spraying. Diving to send the trucks out, more loads.
Okay.
But unbeknownst to, you know, back in fact, we go back, the farming side wasn't losing money, it was making money. And the problem was, is when you got 10 guys driving a truck, 5 5 of those guys are on farm's payroll. Trucking companies paying farms back and 5 guys on payroll.
I see.
So it's pretty easy to make a trucking company look very profitable when half the employees are on the farm side. All the maintenance are coming from the auto parts store or trucking store, being built Warrior Farms. You just got $10,000 worth of parts for that truck upgrades. That's all built Warrior Farms. Warrior Farms pays for it. The trucking company's using the truck free and clear, not paying for any parts, not paying for drivers. Farms is paying insurance.
Okay.
So you're going with this.
Mm-hmm.
So you want to buy a lake house unbeknownst to your husband, and you're trying to get it refinanced. So you give them the financials from the trucking company, which looks like you're making a lot of money, 30%. Fuck yeah.
It was overhead. Who's not making money overhead?
Right. Well, then you got, different places to try to sell a trucking company in 2018 and else mark on paperwork. And they're like, no. Industry standard for profitability in trucking is only like 5 to 6%. You're making 30% what's going on here?
How did this deal come up with weight loss? Can you start that just a little bit?
The deal with lane law? You guys, talking law enforcement, all these people after the fact, you guys crippled me. My ability to pay bills and stuff was crippled after you guys took all those systems out and did what you did. I mean, it was a struggle before, it was more challenging. Then you're taking place, fuel costs as well. Entire that used to cost me $800, now cost me $1,600. I can't pay that. How am I gonna keep making payments on all this stuff? Todd sees this, he's dispatcher, and he knows all these guys later on. They're talking to me, what's going on for us? What you guys do this? Like, no, we're not leaving there. We're not leaving. Well, how am I now? Bring them down, we'll talk to them. That ain't, that's an offer. We paid off the trucks to that. I have taken on a 5-year non-compete. I've got an agreement with them, with a lot of maintenance and stuff on our facilities. All my employees are protected, they've all got jobs. Todd moved over. That was a deal I want to do that? No. It was a good deal, yeah. I just eliminated a couple $1 million debt on trucks. I did not compete for 5 years. Todd's got a job. I'm still getting income. I can make a house payment. I keep moving forward. 5 years and I come back. Todd on the side. Well, every one of the guys come back fast and do. Yes, they will. I got a good relationship with them. And they know it's not the same thing I'll ask them to do that when you miss out. I had time to do it.
Okay. I just want to sometimes make sure I understand. So you agreed to a purchase price, and then you sign a contract saying, hey, I'm doing more trucking work basically, and they're paying you X amount monthly for facility rental essentially. Okay. And is that facility rental, is that also a 5-year contract?
No.
Just a non-compete is?
It's not. It's not. So everyone's 1 month. So they choose to leave, they leave when I do.
Okay. And then is there a maintenance contract in place to maintain vehicles, or they're just paying you?
They just pay us whatever we are taking fix.
Okay.
So
Recently you submitted some documentation for an SBA loan. You don't know how to describe that to us?
which one?
Both. I don't know if you
For the free. No, there's a $500,000 SBA loan we took out. Oh, it was, I remember that was first, we took that out to pay off a lot of debts that was incurred. I'll be there if we're going to keep going. And the second one we took out, it was a no-brainer. I mean, our operating loan at the time was we got $700,000 operating loan. It was a 9% SBA loan. We took out, it was only 3%, and I paid it back for 2 years, and after that, it was a 3-year payback. So
Was that EA loan?
no, well, no, SBA loan, it's one, I don't know.
See, this is that market can probably.
That's also a market loan. I mean, from the accounting side, this is no brainer. We got this. You're gonna pay 9% for the operating loan for these guys. You get this loan here, or 3%, you're gonna pay in 2 years. This is no brainer.
So this check said that?
The accountants.
Okay.
I mean, Mark was one of our other accountants we talked to, our tax loans and different things. You're gonna buy it, and they're going, why would you not get this?
9 till 9, 3 versus 9.
Yeah, this is huge. I mean, this it's a lot of cash flow, but it's a lot of cash flow. So it's no brainer. I mean, nothing shady, nothing illegal. It's all in. I mean, every time that you guys come with skills, it's all in tables in front of it. Conservatives put in place to protect and conserve these assets. I don't want to do that than anybody else.
Yeah, I haven't spoken directly concerned about this. This is more or less a great point. I think one of the concerns was a copy of the driver's license and passport was submitted with the application.
Some of that don't file. Every business has copies of their employees. My passports are filed, my licenses are filed, restricted use licenses are filed. Every employee's licenses are filed.
Where is that stuff stored?
It's on file, you guys don't do it.
In the manual physical file cabinets? Okay. And again, these are questions that I'm not saying you did anything wrong, but we just ask based on this. I don't, yeah, not understanding how you done this.
That's same procedure. You go to the medical office, the first thing you gotta do is your driver's license, your card, a copy for the file.
Yeah, I'm not running anything about business, and I myself taking contract, I do drive because I need for this, so that's like I can take it. There was also some questions raised about power of attorney. Do you assign any copies about that? When were those made, when were those signed?
They were released on our attorney, I think it was 2014. And I mean, I've got our attorneys on lots of things. I've got pharmacist agency, I've got for Wisconsin North at the time, Matt Luck at the time, Robert Ski at the time, Dee, myself, she had the same attorneys for me. I think it's the normal business operating, they work through that.
Okay. Do you remember when or where those were signed specifically?
I don't know, they're all guys that signed it, it's the same ones, one pharmacist agency, I think Dan was in the office at the time, he notarized them, or Stephen was an over, second.
Okay.
Or before we notarized at our office, we went over to Brisky's and he got over in his office, they notarized what we were running the bank.
Okay, yeah, right there. Okay. Do you have a question on business?
There was some questions to operating agreements. There really is only one operating agreement. It was other than the manufactured afterwards.
Well, yeah, once you back date over DW, that's what she made one, which is right on the other. There's been addendums on the operating agreements. And the first addendum she did, when you were going she was on the thing, she had to retype the whole operating agreement. So one of the questions here, going into the fake or something, because she retyped the whole operating agreement with the addendum to page one. She made, so it's like 14 or 15 pages. So she copied the whole agreement with the addendum and signed it. We don't have to do that. All I have to do is type up the addendum and sign it with the original agreement. She was on the entertaining. She had to redo it every time. So she's like, this is a pain in the ass. I don't have to retype this every time. That's what she emailed to Bruce when he was kind of dropping classes. No, you don't have to do that. She just had to do page one. So it's kind of fun.
Any questions here?
No, I can't.
Okay.
When you guys have questions, come up. If you guys have contact us, it's an open door. Okay. Nothing that I can anything that shady is.
I don't get it all. No. It's unfortunate that's why I was being asked is because of service.
Well, that's what makes me feel like you guys are getting let around because it's all shit that it's therapy by them. So once therapy, you gotta ask. That's why we joke with this great sense of there. It's a joke too. So
Okay, I get it. You might be 140. All that. What can you tell me about being in your migraines?
Sometimes because she'll get migraine, she'll lose vision. Her voice will start slurring. Her face will sag. It looks like she's starting to scare you down. The hospital's hour times. But the hospital's very frustrating. They don't do anything. But you're next to me there. She's there today and I'm feeling helpless. If I knew you or something, it's like, what can we do? There's nothing we can do. I can just get her home on this. You know. And where were kids when this shit went on? That fucking went around. She called, they didn't come. They didn't come. Never come. Never.
How long has she been having when we started?
Since I know her. She had back. She's very chill. I think she had one of the terms. She said if I was a stroke and she lost the face sag, that was the worst she had. That's what we call it. Any stroke. Yeah, that's the first one was like she had. They were getting more and more frequent, but she had vertebrae in her neck that was deteriorated, so it's the nerve around it. So we're going to Chelsea to the pain thing. They were giving reaction to the neck.
Okay.
For the pain. And before I didn't know, but I think she's been kind of X-code and stuff for quite a while.
That's scary.
Yeah. And well, you guys know lots of stuff. I found out, didn't you?
I can try on my phone. That's really what you need.
Yeah, there's piles of everywhere and still finds stuff in the campers. She don't feel bad. It's just
We were concerned she maybe eating elsewhere.
hindsight. Yeah, now I was really done.
Yeah.
You know, that's someone else's problem. That's not my wife is not here.
And
Blind to it.
I find that that's everyone's that way.
Yeah.
It's never it's never like it's
And
never
I know
like
exactly where they're coming from now because I have back and I go, oh my fucking god. $10 I have to go and I can go get you $10 every now out of the house. And George, and now I'm talking to you. Hey, this shit, I think I take your $10 house.
Yeah, so you're down right.
I don't know what else. She doesn't know that.
Did you aside from the oxycodone, do you know what other pills you made in dating that was better?
I don't know what they are. I think it's much about she had profession. She had her a lot of things.
I'm sorry, how often did she have a migraine? Would you say? Oh, sorry.
She'd have at least once a month or more.
Okay. Can you describe what that was like for her?
Just unbearable pain. Her head. And they got to the point where she always talk about the pain and you just get hard to it because you heard it so much you didn't believe it anymore. And you're like, you're trying to move. You know, sometimes you feel like she's just using that as a crutch to, I got a migraine, I'll go back to the house to get away from you. But the pain level was unbearable. And I could tell when she was having one was bad because her face would start sagging a little bit. And her vision, she had blurred vision. She'd be talking to you. If you talk to someone where you have eye contact, she'd be talking and she'd look up over here because she didn't see you.
And what was
Their voice was starting to slur a little bit. And that's when it was bad.
okay? And what was her behavior like with her? What was she doing?
She would still try to fake it, But she just couldn't function. Her voice would be slurred and she just be acting like I'm just lay down or she just heard calm down. She would, the first one I could get her beer, smell alcohol in her blood. So the theory was to help. And that helped the first one after a while it didn't help anymore. She had some the one doctor that she was going to had some pills that they had made. It was a combination of three different drugs. She'd take down it. It was 4 migraines. Okay. That helped. And the one pharmacy, there's only one pharmacy that was up by Chelsea that I guess they cost a bacon there. And that's what she got those. That's what helped most. Okay. Do it. I mean, she would still, some of the pills take like Cody, oxycodone or whatever, then she just gets out. But this year she can still function, she can talk, and be more. The normal day she just slow down version.
Aside from you said looking back, you could see things with the pills. Did you have any suspicion then, or see you're taking pills? Did you thought they were success?
I always thought, I don't take any pills. I always thought success is she's taking anything. Why are you taking those? But I guess I'm just a freak. It doesn't happen. I mean, I don't drink metal slow, so I'm already free. I don't drink alcohol, but
Yeah, what's wrong with you?
I don't know. Because I'm not to work. So, you know.
You're about that.
Well, yeah. I just spent my first 4 kids until I did work, so I'm making no things.
Initially, when this happened, I don't want to disclose, so please correct me if I'm saying something that you said I'll be friendly tomorrow. Sincerely, okay? You got me thinking about she's in Jamaica. And what made you think that?
She loved her. She was fascinated with them. What makes me think that? I would find her. She's in Jamaica. She's in Mexico. The reason I say she's in Jamaica. When we're down there, she's fascinated with it. She was always off with it. What you call it, the person's in charge of the resort that gives you all the information. You can get you anything you want while you're there, take you wherever. And she's always asking, you're Jamaica, where's resort? She's looking out the hill. There's all these mansions where I don't know. We're up there, we're up there. That's all we look at. That's all people She's fascinated with that stuff. She's there. You tell my wife she can't do something, she's like, oh, she's gonna do you know, Stephanie knows, she found somebody that shit that hooked her up, or they hit it off, like her and I did years ago. They told each other some dreams of what they wanted to be or what they wanted to do. She's in Jamaica, and Manchester, she's in Mexico, and some places you go to.
Did this person cheated off with you? Started thinking
He was a guy on the boat. He was one of the directors or one of the top guys there. And it was either him or an associate. He was on the boat. He was very well off, very well to do. And she was hanging with him a lot. Well, this is according to my brother. And just the things that Dee would tell me, you know, we did this. And then she told me, she's like, you can see it back in my couch. I should have told that. I mean, they left and Stephanie, just working in the office. Stephanie. And Dee, when I was screwed, I would go, I like boats. I want one boat. She was this, I'll show you on my way. So she took Stephanie, she took me. Stephanie took her off. So, and my brother went, and Amy and her daughter, my sister went, and ran the 3 dedication. That was last year. She passed away. So my brother left the girls all with Dee and Stephanie for that night. Well, Stephanie and Dee put the girls in the room, we move in. They go all bar hopping all night. Leave the kids in the room all by themselves. There are 8,000 fucking people in. I find this out after the fact. My brother's just, you know, I'm going to say this to you, I'm going to tell you because my daughter's left alone in the room. And Dee and Stephanie went on the bar hopping. And Angelina called me in the middle of the night, scared because no one's in the room with them. And my brother, they were furious. So I left her in the room. Why did you just have to back up? Well, why they're out bar hopping at night? That's when she's with these guys on the show.
You know what you want after that?
I learned this. I've had business pieces of this now for 4 years, 3 years. I'm going to try to go back to that. In my mind, I'm thinking, okay, she's on this cruise ship. She's on the cruise ship. She bought $10,000 ring. She bought $5,000 of jewelry here that found receipts in the mail. You know, when we're in Jamaica, she's buying jewelry. I found out after the fact, you know, she's fascinated with these places on the hill. When you take off, go tell myself, like, no, you can't. Unless she goes, and that's in our garden where she goes. So she's there. She's nice.
And I just want to be clear, specifically with the,
No, that's my gut.
I was going to ask you, so specifically with the guy that you have cruise ship, that's something that you're thinking hindsight, or you have something to.
I haven't even backed up with what she's told me. Different. It's also nice.
Okay. And the reason why I asked,
I mean, the kids in the room, I back up. You know,
I think I heard that before.
I mean, that won't back up. As far as anything else, speculation. That's not her. That's my gut feeling. I don't know.
Okay. You had this gut feeling that she's in Jamaica or Mexico. Can you describe how she would have gotten there without a passport or without crossing the border?
You know, Mexico, beautiful. If you guys said you got that, you guys really.
Obviously, it's almost down to get there, right? So, so if you were her, how would you have gotten there without? Can you describe that to me?
She's gonna get driven down to Florida. She's gonna get an boat. She's gonna go over. That's what she's gonna do. She's gonna get $50. Mexico get $10. I see that come back from Mexico. Our guys lost their paperwork. We took a career down there. And then come back and get $10. Again, we're going.
Okay, when was that?
2 years ago. Whenever I just went down to Jamaica. Was it 6 months before she went missing? Or 1 too long for that? Nothing's changed. I mean, the guy works over there. The black guy works over there. He's from Jamaica. His brother's back down there. It's all like, he doesn't want to even want something.
Okay. Specifically on the money topic, where would she have gotten this money? Because it's been a long time to describe this money. Where she got it?
Mark's still telling me how much money she got. We're still puzzled on where she could have found the house she's got money. Where she didn't have that.
Okay. And you had previously made statements about money missing from the safe. Can you describe that to us?
I think there's money taken down. It's only
How much money was in the safe?
there's approximately close to, for sure, between $75,000 and $100,000 cash.
Okay. And can you describe how that money was collected or how it came to be?
It was we sold different pieces of machinery, and you know, over time you take a big check from right outside, but it's safe and just accumulate over years.
Okay. And then how much was missing when she left?
I don't remember for sure. I mean, Kevin would know because we went down there and looked. And it seemed like there's only like 18,000 to 20,000. You know, quote me. I had to ask Kevin because I think we looked your calendar at some time. It seemed like there's only 18,000 to 20,000 left.
So you say everything you got. Okay. And can you, if I was leaving forever, I would leave can you explain that?
You know, she knows that. I figured she left that because that was the amount of money that she figured I could put in there for my paychecks when I saved since forever. So I guess she got a little guilty. She left. I don't think she did that over here.
Okay.
Like you said, what is it? They all she left a little bag that one that I could.
She did not go bank account. The TCF account.
Yeah, she said.
That was that she was using to file money from investments and stuff.
Most of them on this room had an option to sold different pieces of machinery herself. So basically cash. She put it in. She said, her looking at the fact she said, she thought it was hers.
A lot of those financial questions, we're awaiting a financial forensic on it, so a lot of those questions are being answered, we don't have it right now, essentially. But specifically with cash, sometimes hard to show where from, where,
Well, it's kind of over here.
you know, a lot of we're discovered, but that's always somebody that I'm also interested in if you have a specific thing, we sold this tractor is worth X or something large, but nothing like that comes to mind. Okay. Okay.
I mean, that might be a large amount of money for her. So it's not for, it's important for us. I mean, you got $100,000 to save $1,000. We're in order to, otherwise, risky said, really not to save it. Outside the bottom of the business.
How long have you been like that for that amount of safe?
Oh, we've always had $50,000 in safety when we're getting makers. That's your cash reserve. What are you gonna do? You know, throw things out. Get it going for that.
Okay.
That's not money that you're gonna use to house David or the other things. That's the money that you have to actually on the table. Okay. Imagine, you know, in your house, you gotta have some cash. Some
My wife is just me.
Your license is all.
I feel like I'm not.
Okay, yeah, forgive me, we got a couple more parts here, but I have stuff on this restaurant. Can I get you another one? Okay, you guys know that one is, it's actually one at a time, is that right? There's another one in the corner to use.
So just briefly for some clarification, you're sitting on the far left and it's your back is towards the, is that a body camera or what kind of camera is that?
That's the camera mounted to the wall.
Okay. And who's sitting directly to your right?
That's my partner at the time, Detective Sergeant Scott Singleton.
Okay. And across the table from you, who's seated directly across from you?
To my left is Dale Warner.
Okay. And to his right?
Right
You're right.
is his.
And is the guy we're talking to, is he in the courtroom today?
Objection, thank you.
At this time, Your Honor, I would ask the court if you want to take a brief recess because we do have about another hour. Cam, so.
Record will so reflect, and why don't we take about 10-minute recess, give people a chance to get up and move around a little bit.
Don't worry, I slowed it down. That was way too fast. I was like, what is they doing?
Pass. I appreciate the public's desire to know what is happening in this trial,
Uh-oh.
but that cannot come at the expense of the integrity of this trial. And I will do everything in my power to make sure that doesn't happen.
Mm.
Ms. Wise or Ms. Chartier, is there anything you want to address with respect to this issue on the record right now?
Not at this point.
No, thank you, Your Honor.
All right, court will be in recess until 1:30.
Well, wait a minute. What happened? I don't even think they showed what happened. Wait a minute.
All right, are we ready to bring the jurors back in?
Yes, Your Honor.
Well, we need Mr. Warner.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh.
Got ahead of myself.
I don't know. I'm trying to see. I rewinded it, so let's see.
All right, are we ready for the jury?
Yes, Your Honor.
Yes.
I am clearly missing something.
May be seated. All right, I apologize for the extended break. The reason for that is that during the break, it came to my attention that there is still video footage on the internet of that depicts jurors. And that to me is unacceptable. It is becoming a disruption to these proceedings. The court has the ability and the authority to address these issues in a way that protects the jury and is consistent with making sure that MCR 8.115C3 is followed, which says that no one may photograph, record, broadcast, or live stream any juror or anyone called to court for jury service.
I ain't
At
seen
this
that.
point, I'm going to order all members of the media who have access to this trial to remove all footage of day 1 and day 2 of the trial from their websites, from anywhere where it is viewed publicly. Because both of those days, we've just looked at video and confirmed, still have depictions of jurors. We are also at this point going to break for lunch, and during the extended break, we will be checking in with our jurors in the presence of myself and the attorneys to determine where we stand with respect to this issue. And we will continue with the trial once we've completed that task. I appreciate the public's desire to know what is happening in this trial. But that cannot come at the expense of the integrity of this trial. And I will do everything in my power to make sure that doesn't happen. Ms. Wise or Ms. Chartier, is there anything you want to address with respect to this issue on the record right now?
Not at this point.
No, thank you, Your Honor.
All right, court will be in recess until 1:30.
I don't recall ever seeing any jurors on any of our feeds for 1 and 2. And it's so crazy because like the cameraman should be like real better, unless we didn't know that they were jurors, but I don't know. I'll go and look. Let me see if they even came back. Shit, we may be kicked out of the case. So we just in here and right now, you know, because earlier we just heard him do his this interview, and basically all he's standing there is trying to claim that she was so unstable and different theories that he came up on why she not there, why she missing, and this is basically what he in there doing, word salad, just taking him around the bush. But I'm gonna go ahead and push play and put us in here, and then I'm gonna kind of like scan through my video and make sure I don't have any coverage of day 1 and 2 some jurors. Like we on day 5. I don't know what they talking about. Yeah, I'm not sure what days they have because I looked at day one. No, I, I didn't see anything on day one. I'm going to day two now. No, that's day four. So I'm going to look at day two right now. But on day one, no, I don't have anything. Maybe it depends on who you getting your stream from. I think this is day two. Yeah, here go day two. I don't see. Yeah, I don't see anything. So I guess it depends on, if they got it from law and crime or I don't know, because they should, from my understanding, they should have like um they should have one pool a cameraman and everybody just kind of like grab the feed and then they put their stamp on it, like law and crime put their stamp on it. Like and they but so I don't know, but I don't know, and I don't see it on ours, so maybe it's the local news station.
Now you see it. All right, and we can have the witness come back to the stand. So I'll just remind you, you are still in the room.
Yes, sir.
Right, just Shamrock. I'm right
So
there
we
with
left
you.
off
I've
in the
mentioned that
interview.
before.
You guys kind of took a break for a little bit, right?
Yes.
Okay. And when you come back, there's some further discussion about some basic farming and then details of the weekend of April 25th, 2021. Is that accurate?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. We'll continue to play that, Your Honor. Can we just ask, Your Honor, if it's too loud or if there's an issue with that thing up there? Too loud? Okay.
Your Honor, is it appropriate to ask the jury if this is better than before when they were trying to listen or worse? Because the speaker was supposed to make it better, but we just want to make sure it didn't make it worse. Better? Okay. Thank you.
I was gonna, I actually was working in Washington. I was supposed to say I'm in middle school. You want to be an official? Yeah, stay there. I think a little chance. It was in the 80s.
I don't know what that was like. The 80s.
Except for
We do it. I don't get it. I
this morning, I'm listening to the tape, right? And like everybody else, said about the Lions and what's going on, and but I actually remember the Lions used to be sort of good back in the early, 90s or 90s. My dad was making my station. Oh, yeah. So we used to spend a lot of time doing the Lions. And then after that, the middle school for about 2 years. Yeah, I went to the national championship game in 1991. They lost to the Redskins. The Redskins ended up going to Parker in the Super Bowl. It was the last time the Lions were in.
Last time I was back there, maybe one.
Yeah, they beat the Cowboys at Silver. So they came. A couple years after that, they beat 93. They were in the playoffs against Green Bay. Super sure. They're the scrimmage part of the super sure. I don't want to bound. It's like literally. And I don't know. They went to maybe perhaps one more time after that until 2016. Right? It was so bad for so many years.
I still found myself Sunday watching.
Oh,
They're done. See, same old Lions, and they came through. So
also, it's got to be passes on Raiders. The Lions could win a playoff game for the first time in my life. You are old enough to remember that.
I could ask you a generic farming question, Dale. Could you, in 30 seconds if possible, describe like the seasons of a farmer? So winter, spring, summer, what are you doing through those seasons?
I asked you the same question. Right now, we're still, marking our crop from this year.
Is your market doing selling?
Yeah, marking.
Okay.
Selling. I'm looking at purchasing the inputs, as far as kind of fertilizer and seed for next year.
Okay.
We're getting machinery in and getting retool for next year. We'll be taking, most of them through here in February, we'll be taking orders of hopefully what application jobs we're looking for someone else, or what their needs are going to be. Our seed corn will be what they call it here, so they don't bring seed when it helps yet. But we got the first year, so bring seed in, so put it in.
Okay.
Those are right now, soybean seed, put it in one tanks. Basically, machinery comes until February, March.
And what happens in February?
March is, depends on what Mother Nature does, but March will be the time you start to get next sun. Or you've been putting out some fertilizer to dries. That's what crops you're doing. We got this wheat.
What does that mean?
For fertilizer. We got winter wheat was planted, here 1 to 2 ago.
Okay.
We got the fertilizer on it, we're putting that on seeder. Whether we still grow, on growing season, March or 4.
Okay.
We are starting great weeks for the growing season.
Okay.
We need fertilizer on some fertilizer have the nitrogen here, it's not nitrogen. So it's very good for weeds and bugs. Your first application, weeds before that. So you got to put your fertilizer on the first application, probably February, March. Second application, you'd be out putting more fertilizer on, and probably an insecticide, or herbicide. Third would be more fungus, and the fourth would be for fungus and insects. And we end up in how we pay what people last application. Unless you get, it depends on if you get a lot of moisture, fungus will grow, for molds and stuff, you're gonna spray for mold and weed. If you get some weevils or insects will come in, you spray for those. And same time you're doing burn down, which is spraying it down with 240 to kill either field. So you go through the field, you put stem all of them, maybe less. Fertilize that. Seed, fertilizer before fertilizer. Then you go all spray that application. Most of it is spraying, like atrazine, Avapor. There's all these coming up. You go back out again. Probably middle of June, top dress, which is going to go for that. Or you're looking for insects that need to get sprayed. You get towards middle of the end of July, you're close to tassel, there's going to be probably. We got they call soot, black soot, there's different diseases that come with the right now. We're out spraying there, it means to stop the black smell and stuff on there. You start your first 6 beans, you just got beans.
a schedule, almost schedule and everything.
A lot of them have seasons. Everybody knows when this is coming, or the weather.
That's what I was gonna say, the weather, you can't predict, like, it's been recently warm, so coming out right now, not that things we've
I
had,
mean, it's not done this the whole life, it's just.
I think it's the farmer's own.
It's hard to find them anymore. It's hard to find them anymore. When you do, there's a lot of truth to the grandfather say that, was it the frogs croak so many times, 4 hard frogs? There's so many different sayings, the locust, it sounds like the frogs at night, or the locust chirping. So many times they chirp at night, maybe frogs, so many times they chirp at night, it's the rain. These guys had shit down. And then different ones, with cattle, if you deworm cattle, you cut their horns off. Or each other to get over there. There's saints out that, when deworm cattle after half moon, after full moon, they'll bleed less. Something's true. Deworm it, bleed, you want to ruin it, plus straight out, arteries straight up there. Next time you do it, after full moon, not going to bleed at all. There's some truth to this.
affects the tide, so I don't know.
There's so many things.
I don't know.
But there's so many things. There's so many things that there's so many things that I
There's
so many things that I would remember to tell you because all the second nature is.
Yeah.
I say go play cornhole. That's my son and stuff. And you tell me everything, assuming that I know what you're talking about.
And outside of your, when I say your farming, I'm referring to the land that you own, when it comes to, please correct me if I'm vernacular maybe wrong, when it comes to lands you were contracted to spray or fertilize, do you have a formal schedule for that, or how does that work? So let's say I own 100 acres, and I'm gonna have you spray. Do you schedule a specific day with me, or how does that work?
You can call me and say that for this corn, I want you to spray. I'll ask you when it's planted, how big is the corn down? What fertilizer you have, I don't believe that, I've got the chemicals, if you've done anything, you can kill it, there's no means you're still on plant. So the ground, so you did kill it, you just sprayed it around. I'll ask you those questions, then I'm gonna come out with it. Okay, planted 30 days, I won't plant it on Monday, I'll give it 2 weeks before I look at it, so I run over it and pop back up. So it was all your own words there. So I come out and look at it, and I'm gonna ask you what weeds you have. You have thistles, you have broad weeds, grasses, so I know what chemistry I have to use to keep it clean. I just plant around right one. You have different length. So you have,
Those brands, or is that?
that's resistance to different herbicides.
Okay.
Round ready, it's ready, Liberty Lane, it's straight Liberty, and it won't kill it. There's different ones, there's BT, formula resistant, or like the guy, which is rootworm resistant, maybe you put that more off on or something for insecticides. You're gonna answer all those questions, I'm with it, okay, it's decent, it's still ready to use, I'm gonna come back and spare. There's gonna be driven by, if we had rain today, I'm not gonna go on 3 hours, I'm not gonna sink in, but feel it, we'll make this dry, schedule it by. Is there not rain tomorrow? No, I don't want to spray tomorrow, because the sun will spray, it takes 4 hours. It's gotta be unplanted, be there 4 hours before sun will spray, so rain down later, won't, just takes $34 an acre. So after we check all that out, you gotta make sure the wind can't blow in here. In subdivision, I don't want the stuff blowing over on neighbors, going grass, kids out there, they're ending up drifting out, so I mean, first schedule will be there Monday to spray the 9 o'clock. So it's gonna be when the weather is right. You gotta faith me that.
Within a window of the appropriate time for that plant, essentially, right? Okay. You look at it, you have 5 days, you're gonna be there within that 5-day period, but it's never, I'm gonna be here this morning or that one.
Right. Okay. Be there when. I mean, there's mornings when it's real calm out and there's no wind. Great, let's go spray. There's days that it doesn't stop blowing. You can spray off. You have competition on spraying still.
And is what you just described as far as your scheduling things, is that Dale or the kind of the generic farmer? Say, is kind of everyone operate that way, or is that just
Everyone should.
I mean, as far as scheduling, is that?
Well, if you go to the world, they're gonna schedule, we're gonna get your farm on Monday, you don't know what time, they're gonna get it Monday, Tuesday. Well, they're gonna be good long, if you're thinking contains, across 10 to 12 an acre, or they're gonna tweak. There's different chemistries you can do. We're gonna have more gallons, so we're gonna have more volumes, or we're gonna last a couple more acres. You got 100 acres, we can only carry 80 acres in tanks, we're gonna cut back, so we'll put 50 gallons, we're gonna put 10, so we get it one job, so we'll put less product on, so my actually more control. So I think there's a lot of things you can change so they can make a schedule. They got young guys that don't have experience
Okay.
The company likes to find it, don't know, but it goes on, you got to make the determination. That's just like our car. You get it, you're responsible, you do something, you're responsible. They don't really make the difference. That's like, in the morning, I try to get up early, because that's when the wind is blowing, so I mean, the day he left, for example, that was a calm day, they don't scramble, like, I'll get out there, because I had a full day, and I had to go. And I knew the wind's gonna pick up, so I had to get this done, so I got to go. So,
And as far as chemicals go, for you owning and selling chemicals, is there a state license for that? Can you tell me about that? Okay. Is that governed by Florida or somebody else?
Florida, and then, yeah.
Okay. And what sort of chemicals do you have on hand in the farm?
No, I couldn't tell you for sure, though, usually around that. Normal herbicides.
Okay. Anything else? I don't know, it's not a farm.
Oh, somebody does that. You have Roundup.
Okay.
You have atrazine or Talcor, which is a chemical you put down. It stays there for 30 days. You're gonna have some kind of insecticide, kill bugs. You're gonna have some surfactants to make stick and plants with ammonium sulfate, which is dry, it softens the water, it makes it for your skin. Work better.
Okay.
As far as you're not gonna have a lot of stuff sitting there. This is the time of year that we take orders, so we get a lot of stuff in the spring, so you have it there. But like now, there's plenty of food in the barn because you're not carrying it.
Right, you want to buy it when you need it, right, okay. Do you have a question on that?
No, please.
Okay. Tell us, what do you remember, and I'm referring to the weekend the week of April 24th, 25th, that weekend. So tell us what you remember from Saturday.
Saturday, I think, is the day that he called me all upset that she was done. We're tired. The night before, I was by her, she brought me to the field. So Friday night, it was throughout East Field, well, we're tired, we talked about what we were doing the next morning. We're trying to finish the field tired for punches. She was gonna take Angel to the game, but she didn't know how to go. I said, Friday, so I was there with the tired, and she did the game. And so she called and said, we're done, that's confused, she was talking the rest of the day. I think that day, Saturday. That's the day. Back and said, let's try back on. And it goes. Spring, next day, for high school, going over television for camp. That's not even. Like last night with the, she was talking about what should I buy, and done. And so I asked her what she wanted to do, she just wanted to stay home and watch the kids, or what she wanted to do, that's what she started getting on. She got some, that's like for the, she had eggs, she got some, she said she got pizza, sauce or something, on breakfast, because it was stand and cross that day. So I got him up. And then we lay down and move in. I was in the living room. I got this morning about 6 or 4. Ran outside. Over around, it's a camp out on the juicy out. Pulled out some big trash out of the building. I'm on the spray out. You know, sprayed weed, I just sprayed weed at Leroy's first. Go back and had it rinse out. Loaded up with herbicide for. It was burning. Over around 240, always sulfate. Then I back down to it. It's very close. Then for growth, I wanted to grow giant houses. That's a Stephanie call. That was a good one. It was Stephanie calling. I wanted to use that. She said, oh, I was really good. It was close by, and Stephanie was calling instead of the cow. She said to come off of it. So I went stuff and then tried to call the cow. We called it 3 or 4 times so she answered. She said, we'll find out. And then, well, she's at her couch. I just left her. I'm not. She says, no, she's not here. I said, okay, I'll straight in. Half an hour, back. So that's what I just straight to straight. to see her. She's out there. I made sure she had picked him up. She's in the car. I said, "Oh, where's your food?" I said, "Something." No. Then we're calling in the bathroom. And she agreed with me. She said, "Well, Mom's hairspray down off the counter." Well, I don't know which hairspray she got or down. She took her hairspray. She didn't take Elle's hairspray. So then, thinking about pulling out from the office. Hindsight, now looking back, this is weirder than weird to me. He's been gone an hour to 2 hours. The kids are here all in panic, and she's left countless times. This is weird. And then Zach's in the office going through the security cameras, trying to figure out where's on that. He wasn't going through the security cameras. He's beating shit off the cameras because he thinks I'm not looking at the tracks. That's
If I can, I'm sorry, taking off on your information, but specifically Saturday, can you describe the source of Dee's anger? What caused her to get upset that day? Can you talk to us about that?
I guess she got into a little Terry from her drivers over something. His girlfriend or his wife or his ex-wife, he has like them. I guess they argued and quit. And then she got into an argument with Todd that day over dispatching or Terry or else they were arguing. He just said to call her out, said, "I know what you're doing." She was taking this money.
It's been told to us that you had informed the employees, however, that happened, that she was taking Xanax and she didn't acknowledge that. Can you describe that to us? So we were told that you had informed whether it's Todd or Carrie or both of them that Dee was taking Xanax, and that was a source, a portion of her being upset that day. Okay. The way it was said to us was, and I'm paraphrasing, Dale went her back and told the employee she's taking Xanax, not only her, because she don't even know, essentially. Okay. So outside of the phone call you had with her at the soccer game, can you go back to that? What happened from that?
I talked to her last year, I tried to call her several times. She didn't answer the phone. I just feel tile that I don't know if I want to spray more. I know I had to take Todd out to I asked Todd to wait. He said, "Yeah, you guys were so much." I called her out.
What was your instinct then? Do you think this was going to resolve itself, or what did you think at the time? Is this back kind of comment?
I figured, you know, I'm going to have to go out on the chair. Back Monday, it's all over.
Okay.
Again, I'm going to go in the house tonight. I'm thinking this. I'm going to go in the house tonight. I'm going to get my ass kicked for something that I didn't. I love going down. I'm going to get shit out because I didn't stick up for her with the chair argument. So I don't know if it was this bad already, even though she's 100% wrong. So I'm just going to like, start getting Todd. I'm thinking, well, the last thing I have to do is have Todd quit too, because then we'll really be screwed. So I'm like, yeah, she did already straighten out everything tomorrow. I'm going to go talk to Terry, come back to work, sit down, start at home, he's going to have Saturday, Monday. I have to talk to him, go back. To figure it out, we're going to leave, we know we're not taking this shit back.
And at that time, maybe on Saturday, with how essentially with this argument with her employees, essentially commentary, what do you think her mindset was like?
I don't really know what was thinking.
Some of the statements you had made in the past were that you were concerned she was using her pills and that she may be depressed. Right? Is that accurate?
I think she was depressed. I think she was upset, depressed, because she didn't know what she was doing. Her best friend quit, that's why they quit, so now it doesn't happen. She can't go. That's why she said, "You're not going to come." Else you gotta go. A lot of shit is going on. So, I think former cops in the they're going.
Because it was a busy time of year in general.
This is time of year. Yeah, it was like on a calendar pretty much every year after plenty more things.
Okay. Barring weather or whatever.
This is the day I start. This is the day we start.
Okay. And she come home on Saturday, and what happens then?
I come home on Saturday. This is just the house. And I call my son, he's still smoking fertilizer. So I go in the house to see, and she's questioning me about, I asked her what's going on with him. She said, "Hey, he's the one who's the rest of us." Like, why is it 8 o'clock at night? Why is she doing that? I think he calls. was there, she'd say, well, this is actually a platform in her house. Checked out the DD, and she saw this out. She said, I'm talking about this. She said, wrong. Jerry quit. Yeah, I heard Jerry quit. I was out with me. She said, what do you do? I said, well, take care of 4 of the kids. What do you want to do? She first she tried to scream, so I could say, fuck, that's tried to sit down talk to her. And she got this. She was doing some kind of shit. I was trying not to say anything worse. And you know, no, this is the hell talking about. She's talking, she's still mad about Terry. She's still mad about me. Terry's girlfriend did this, she did. Tell her that she started to my ear. She's over here. She's like, oh, you're talking. Like she's talking to me. It's TV from my ears. Yeah. This is just. So I went over and asked her something. That's what she said. You got some breakfast. She comes in. It's sitting or something. So she got those out. She got it when she started cutting it. She cut her finger. She was doing this. Stop. I tried to walk up. We ate some breakfast. She was feeling better. Yeah, I can tell she wasn't. She takes some seconds. It was her first little slur. She's kind of taking away clothes. So she wanted to cover her clothes down or something. But inside I was on. She said, well, since you got to drink something, you're getting dehydrated. That's why. And it was fine. She's like, no, she's just kind of, I just don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. I said, just, you know, absolutely. That's what we did. She just went back to the place. Just supposed to get the pressure in her head. It feels better. Went back in that. She's super tired. She's talking a little bit. That long to get better. When we went to sleep, I got up in the morning. She's there. I just sleep out. Just, get up. Stronger.
You had previously described this as one of the worst arguments you had had. Can you describe that to us?
It was one of the worst arguments that we had. She's never said it all the time. It was confusing. She's talking about it. And then after I get into the one where I'm done, a year and a half later, she wished she could have the line. It's only that she took something that big stuff. And that was all.
Yeah. You had previously stated that you gave her some medicine.
You know, I'll do it.
Okay, and you know what, you might have said that then.
She was.
Okay. Don't you make a mistake about a different day or something?
Yeah, I went through that stuff forward.
Okay, that specific day or another time? Okay. So I want to be clear, you did not physically give her any medicine. The medicine she took, she obtained herself from wherever. Okay. And you only saw her take that pill? Okay.
That was just that she
You're referring to the counter with the wood over it, kind of like a dining room table?
the bar is off. It was like wine right in.
That, okay. You guys stood together on the phone over there, okay.
That cover right there is where she got it. So her medicine was there, the rest of the medicine, like aspirins and normal household stuff, was all over in the kitchen.
Okay.
Yeah, there she kept all her separate over there. So, but I was over by the kitchen part, get, the food warmed up, and she's only getting a pill or whatever. She went over there, had some uncovered, took it, come back and said, no.
Okay. And then what time do you and her fall asleep?
I was thinking it was 12 o'clock, probably.
Okay. Can you describe that? Where? Sorry. You both do. Okay. Specifically where on the floor? Okay. Is that common?
Yeah.
Okay. How often do you sleep on the living floor?
Every day.
Oh, really? Okay. Why is that? Okay. And you slept there all night each week? Okay. And then what time did you wake up? And what's a normal morning for you? What do you, as in great detail as you talk, what do you do when you wake up?
I get up, I'll get my clothes on, brush my teeth, grab a watch, my phone, get dressed, blood pressure, pill, good morning, and then I head out.
Okay. Now that is in general, or that's what happened next Sunday morning?
That should not happen today.
And how long does that process take you?
That morning, I think I had to go downstairs because that's why they do the mental transplants. We did it all. Received the transplants downstairs.
With the transplants, right?
We started festival.
Yeah.
Trays, it's trays downstairs, and I think the day before, actually, I just put the seats in, I think I went down that morning, I had water. So I ran downstairs, good morning, the transplants, I went downstairs twice. Team water down, water the transplants, and all that kind of stuff. I went,
Okay, so I was like, really slow. So you wake up, you're on the floor, and what's the first thing you do?
walked over to my, what I should go, so I did the phone to the garage.
Okay.
So I'll get up, I'll go over, get a glass of water, try to do it every morning. First thing I do is take my blood pressure pill, I forget. And I'll take a bill in the garage, pick the thing off the floor, so it's about like a work floor, and then I'll came off the garage, get my new phones out, and my bed, brush my teeth. Go back out, so I'll grab my phone, my watch, start it every day.
Okay.
And then, I count everything, I gotta make myself notes what I need to do for the day. I don't have my paper on that day, sure, I know where I'm supposed to go straight, what I need to do, so that I didn't forget anything. That's separate that corner. Back there, well, go back over, got it, go over the gate. Usually I make a circle around the back of the farm, I'll do it as I go out, and I'll get the grass, trying to do it grass, I'm trying to, get all that. Put the different stuff. It's dry, and it puts some additives in. Something, I don't know, sprayer starter, back, JCB out of the barn. If I have food for lunch, order back in the house, grab it out, walk in, give it with me. And well, start loading up the sprayer.
Do you do a shower in the morning? No, you shower in the evening and everything? Okay. So, I want to make sure, so you wake up, take your blood pressure pill, grab close to the bed, glass of water, grab close to the garage, come into the bedroom, maybe the bathroom, brush your teeth, and get dressed. Okay, get dressed and we're just in the house, and then you grab your phone, your watch, and then do you eat breakfast in the morning, or are you ready to leave? Okay, so specifically on Sunday morning, what happens from that? You're dressed, you take your blood pressure pill, you grab your phone, your watch, what do you do next? Which I don't get a much more better. Which door is common for you? Okay. Okay.
Usually I try to walk to the garage.
Okay.
Or the laundry room. Wherever I park the car, where I got to get out for seeing what the rest of the day, you know, 2 cans of coffee. Or I don't know, the shop, you get it.
Okay. And I apologize. So you leave out through whatever door, first thing you do?
First thing I'll do is I'll bring it out, let the dogs out, then I'll get the motor, back in the hedge over, and see if there's any dew on it. Well, start the sprayer up, and check all the stuff on it. Then hopefully I remember to take my fucking list, because I don't create a list, I'll work out and spray. See what goes straight into it.
Okay.
So that day, I had that finished the week from Leroy's and on my list. I got
How many acres do you have? So you just spread?
I feel like I'm about to shoot, I think it was like 10. It took me more time to get out.
Okay. How long is that acres only take? Okay.
Seems like I had fluctuated, so I gotta go down about 3 times water, go back, straight to the principal down 3 times, go back. Look and see if I got anything here, like the blow to the KCB. Well, our buildings will keep temps. I keep some back right over, but all the small stuff is little jugs, little things you keep up at the office, so somebody shows up to buy some. So there's some other market, see if I can set them on. So I'll go there, get ready, throw my jobs, go back to the photo. I got the market one, small thing, go out, take the KCB up there, for me, bring them down now. So that morning, I think I'm gonna get 3 trips with the boat, I think different jugs, because that's just. I want my sheet right there, sheets.
Okay.
So my log sheets, I'm gonna ask what time I went to Leroy's, I'm gonna go get my sheet, and tell us what time I went to the barn, what time I got to Leroy's, and I'm back, because I'm loading the next one, right, next, I do the sprayer, I write down the sprayer, I make the field, try to write down, the acres in it, whose name it is, so just try to double up on this.
Right.
So that I got those.
Okay. So you walk in the house, you go to feed the dogs, and what's the next thing you do?
Okay.
And you get a toxic thing. When you take the photo, what do you
Over a little, what you call it, a little ATV.
Okay. Like side by side with a.
Yeah,
with a park area.
yeah.
Okay. And where's that normally park?
It's usually parked out by the dogs, right behind the garage.
Okay.
And you get where it's, at 10,
And you get that, and where do you go from there? Okay, and what happened there? Okay. Okay. And, can you explain to us what you do with the JCB down there?
I would have pulled up, that was, over the line, pulled up that house. Oh, I think it was just a trash can. I don't know, but the forks, I would pull it back. There was a pallet that I would pull this stuff in.
Okay.
Usually, there's about, double check on those. So, all that trash goes above.
Okay. You said you pulled it up to the house and just grabbed it.
I think I pulled up behind the house, thinking I had to grab maybe a sheet, a little sheet, for sure. I took the loader around the spray was started, I know I had JCB loader, pulled around by the house, and I run in and I grabbed some by the house, and I go back out, got the loader, back out, with the forks on it.
And what did you see in the house when you could run back in there? Okay, so sleep. And at this point, it seems like it's a question. Was anyone else in the property or in the house? Okay. And
It's still about 6:30.
that was my next question. How long had it been? Okay.
About 6:30 now. Maybe close to 6:30. So, got that on the ground, moving, and started to spray her up.
Mhm.
You know, so, I run the loader, pull out there, paddle the forks.
Okay. Good. Doesn't mean they don't need to do that on farm talk. When you say, you leave the house, you go and just show me, I think I know, show me where the dogs are. Okay, and then you jump in the Kubota?
Loader just had one here by the house.
Okay,
Get the ground out here, keep grass.
that was an answer, which field you're referring to.
Grass.
Okay,
Okay, you know what it is.
okay. Is that common for the farmers to check the grass this morning, and that's part of what you do, so you can schedule? Okay, okay. And then where was the sprayer part? Is that where you okay. And you started, and you did while you're loading everything else up, you said those are air, that's so, like, fill air and spray.
Well, suspension. Those areas.
Which started, okay. And where was the JCB part?
Just inside one here.
Okay. And you said you pulled up to the house, and you showed it.
Pull out here, pull around this way, come over here. Grab our heating house and back out.
Okay, can I make some notes on it? Is it okay? She said this is the Kubota? Can you straw next to the Kubota? You got a pen anywhere? We're going off fronts here, Mark. And then, where is the, if you can mark the sprayer, is it out of the paper? Okay. And where's the JCB part? And then just draw X on the corner, just make sure I understand. Different people call the buildings different things, so I don't make sure. Okay, what do they call the dry bar with that? Oh, okay, and there's a wet bar, does that make sense? That's, see, that's what I mean, it's 50 walls. Okay, and then you pull on the JCB and you show where you parked it by the house.
Pull it here.
Okay, can you mark that for me? Okay, and then, where do you go from there? Yeah. Okay. And then what happens after that? You try the JCD over there, you hear the JCD, and then what happens? Okay. And when you, how many minutes do you think from when you were in the house to when you got over here and left in the sprayer, how many minutes is that? If you have to guess, that's Sunday morning.
Before I left the sprayer.
Correct. If you have to guess, it's how long process? It's a half hour. Okay. And
I'm trying to remember if I had to rinse before I loaded the weed spray out, or if I rinsed. I don't remember if I looked what I had to check that I was going to go.
now let me know. So,
Because I keep that book in there on the shelf, so if I spray for ashes, you can say, with it, yeah, I'm going out there and I spray weed, I'll look that book, I had ashes in there, I'll fucking not spray weed.
I see.
It's not much for its house. Oh, yeah. Those are the papers that you need. Yeah.
You're out there.
Yeah. They were red on the lumber.
sprayer's in here. JCB's here, I go up here, got some stuff out building in front here. Look back, measured out, this house, this was the house he had. Measured the shit out, right? Put the sprayer down, pulled out.
Okay.
So I should be on the camera, because the camera, I pulled the part, showed you pulled it on the sprayer.
Okay, and specifically with the JTV, I think that's the most question I have to ask that's out there. So the Justice Brigade crew, at the time, I think the adult children perhaps part right seen the JTV tracks, and that's why they actually right below the house. Is that accurate?
They didn't ask me.
That's
They didn't ask me.
correct.
They didn't ask me.
Okay. Okay, that was my understanding, because the JTV tracks were for the Hummer's farm. Is that news to you? Yeah, so,
Then I pulled it on back around behind the house later that day, and I pulled it up next to the grass where I was parked.
right, so when they had seen the Hummer, you already were back to the house, and the JTV tracks were underneath it.
All private.
Okay. And that's from you pulled up the house?
Yeah.
Okay.
And the JCB pulled up there, the Hummer was out front, and they were leaving anything out front. That's because they leave the keys there.
Yeah,
So I pulled back around the house, and I pulled over next to the grass and parked it.
in the normal spot, essentially.
Well, the normal spot's the garage, but we've been parking it outside because I think she had something else in the garage for the caddy, or she parked in the middle of the caddy. So I just pulled it over next to the grass, because I waited, because the rest of the area there is where the rest is parked. No, I park mine upstairs, here, whoever pulls in, that's where the park.
Okay, so you got the JTV, pull back into the house, because you grab your sheet or something, and you get back in, and you go back to the bar and go to the sprayer. And when you're in the house, she's sleeping. Right, okay, so how did the Hummer get from behind the house to the office?
You got one?
Yeah.
There's there any back? That's where you want to see my room.
Okay, where was it being left?
I left it on my house. I think it was, I don't remember.
Okay.
Seeing the Hummer, I mean, it's a lot title.
Okay.
I remember. But I do remember grabbing it from in front of the office, parking back by the house, we never leave anything on the roof.
Okay. So it was behind the house we got?
I don't remember. I don't.
Okay.
Well, I guess easier when you left to go to Brooks or whatever. I wasn't parked in front of it.
I don't remember seeing it out there. I don't.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't remember seeing it. It's almost like I didn't put that way. I mean, I can tell you where a piece of arms is. I can't tell you where the numbers at. It's just not something that.
Okay, so then you, in the sprayer, you go out to Leroy's, and you spray, you said, how many acres is that?
It was
10 acres?
Look,
Okay, and you come back, and then what happens? Okay,
Loaded up, I rinse out, I pull it back, and I just stop, back and over.
and the next time, remind me, I'm sorry, you're going to, was it for Brooklyn? On Brooks, I'm sorry, okay. And then where do you go from there? Okay. And then what happens then?
That's when the stuff becomes, that's what we do that.
Okay, and what do you do after that?
I have back to the house when he goes right.
Okay, and who's there when you get home?
He's there.
If you, I'm sorry.
And Zach, Cal. Zach, Cal, and Dustin.
Okay, and you said they're in the office, and what are they doing?
They're going through the computers.
Okay,
And I was know how the data that goes into it.
Yeah. and when you access the cameras, what were you looking for?
I have access to the office. I had to go get it.
Yeah, when you did access the cameras, what were you looking for? I have a silly question, but
I was looking to see what was going on. I didn't look at anything other than that because they had locked out.
okay, well, there's actually no value access to cameras at that point. I'm just asking what you're looking for. It's silly. We're trying to move the sheriff's department, so we think we can explain everything as silly as it sounds, you know?
They were looking to see if what cars were by the way.
Okay, and that's what you did, you access them?
I didn't access. Zach already had my screen.
They all be bouncing against each other.
I did look.
Just listen, there's absolutely no value access to cameras. If you were just looking for your wife, then just say you're just looking for your wife,
I was looking for my wife, but I didn't access the shit. Security cameras.
You had access to them on your phone, correct?
Yes, it will work. It would not work.
Okay, so when you tried to access the cameras, what were you doing?
I was looking to see who's in the office, if he was on the cameras.
Okay, so you're just looking for the adult, trying to get Sam to
Somebody, you'll see where she's at, but I already figured she's at Zach's house.
Okay, and that's specifically from your phone, that's what you're trying to do, correct? Okay, and is that, I think it's called milestone? Is that typically a problem with? I'm not familiar with it.
Yeah, it's horrible.
Okay, what are you supposed to be able to do from the app?
You're supposed to be able to see the cameras and see what's going on in the cameras.
Okay, and how often do you try to use it?
I would try to look at it. I don't know.
you have any other issues with the phone, or is it with that app, do you think? It's the application itself?
I don't really know what's that position on that process of work.
But by and large, it's this application that two issues. Okay. Do you pretty much get your phone with you at all times?
Most of the time.
Okay. So this is that Sunday, you have your phone with you all day?
I'm pretty sure it was okay.
Okay.
The only time you know is if you drop it somewhere, you're back there trying to find it.
Yeah, you can both. And that Sunday, do you remember about what time Stephanie called you and asked where he was?
I was thinking it was around 9 o'clock, 9:30.
Okay. And until that point, as far as you knew, she was at home. Right? Okay.
I think I texted her, telling her else running, so that she could go with it.
Okay. But so then things are normal. You don't know any different, right? Essentially. Okay. And then what were you doing? Okay. Why did you access the cab like that? Why did you go to the cab for in the garage? You access the catalog, and you like it than that. I'm not sure.
Something that I got out.
I'm not sure.
If I opened the door, I got it out. I didn't. She kept keeping it.
I'm not saying you drove it. I'm just saying you access it for some reason. Don't know why.
Access it, I didn't need it.
I
I was like looking at my app on my phone.
I'm not certain what you did physically with the vehicle, but you had access to the car.
Well, then I looked at my phone, see what was that.
Okay.
That would be access to it.
Okay. I'm not familiar with what you can do with that.
And then I'm sorry, I mean, I see times I look on my phone, it tells me where it's at.
Okay.
And tell us about that.
Yeah, tell us about that. I'm not familiar with that.
Just, I'm sorry, you can start app on your phone, you can start your car, log in, your phone.
Oh, okay.
I mean, I feel like it's about the time the car's at in the garage.
Okay. And so what purpose were you doing that morning?
It's only when it's not there. See the car's there.
Okay. So you would have accessed that app and it tells you where the car is, and that's why you would have done to see where she was.
Yeah, see my car's home, so she can go.
Okay. And what about when you tried to locate your iPhone? What purpose was that?
See what you got.
Same thing.
Everybody's trying to find her on iPhone.
Okay. And it described to us that when things were possible to you, she didn't like you knowing where she was. Did she know you had access to those things at the time? Was that ever playing attention in recent time? You know, overall, or about just everything about that? What about leading up to this incident?
Okay. She knew where I was at, she could access my phone.
Okay.
It's like the same thing. If she can get hold of me, she can find my phone, see where I have her. It's not very familiar.
Okay. Do you have a question about Sunday?
No.
Okay.
All right, so during the course of that interview, you had the defendant draw on something. What was that?
It was you're going to do a satellite image of the Munger farm.
I'm going to hand you People's Exhibit 124, and we are going to, okay, we're going to switch it out on the iPad. I'm going to have you get it out, though. Exhibit 124. Is that the exhibit I've handed you?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and what was the point of that exercise?
The intention of reviewing this with Mr. Warner was to have him specifically mark where he parked the front end loader on 425, the morning of 425.
Okay. If I recall correctly, you had him draw 4 different X's on this map. Do you recall what the other X's were for?
Yes, there's one X in the very top right-hand corner that was to get the pen to work. There is one X directly north of the house where he indicated that he parked the front end loader. The other 2 X's.
Hold on, have you stop. So you said directly north of the house?
So in the image, you can see a white car
Yes.
north of the house. There is an X to the right of that.
Okay.
That is where he indicated that he parked the front end loader.
Okay. And do you recall what the other two X's are?
The other two X's are, I asked him miscellaneous questions about where he picked up the side-by-side from and where the front end loader was initially parked.
Okay. And why are you asking these questions?
The other two questions, honestly, were more of a decoy. The only thing I really wanted to know was where he parked that front end loader that morning.
And so at this point in time, had you reviewed some of the stuff, but not all of the discovery in the case or the evidence that had been gathered so far?
I had reviewed probably in the high 90% of everything, if not everything in its entirety.
Okay. So why do you care where the JCB was parked that morning?
It was observed, there were tire tracks observed from the front end loader. And when asked about it, Mr. Warner later explained that he returned to the house in the front end loader. Where this X is marked and where those tracks were is also where the Hummer is typically parked and where it was parked that day. His statements were that D must have moved the Hummer to the office, but he states when he returns to the house in the front end loader and parks in this spot that she's inside sleeping. So then it begs the question of these two objects cannot be in the same place at the same time, which means the Hummer must have already been moved when he pulled up to the house.
Okay. And you asked about a number, 3 other items. So first you asked about the, I believe the milestone.
Yes.
What was that?
Milestone is the application used to access the surveillance cameras on the Munger property.
Okay. And Find My iPhone, what's that?
Find My iPhone is an application. If you're granted permission between different Apple products, you can look at their geographic location on a map.
And the My Cadillac app, what's that?
That is another application offered by General Motors and or OnStar in which you can do a variety of things, including looking up the geographic location of the vehicle.
Why are you asking these questions?
All of those applications were accessed by Mr. Warner that morning, and they were all done prior to when he states that she realizes she's missing.
Prior to when he realizes she's missing?
He's very consistent in that the first time he knows that she's missing is when he receives a phone call at approximately 10:30. However, he accessed all of these applications, in his words, to find her well before he knows that she's missing.
Okay. So after you do this interview, you kind of continue this investigation for a couple years, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. And again, we're going to get into the rest of the details of that investigation at a later point in time. I want to focus right now on August 16th of 2024. What happened on that day?
On August 16th of 24, I executed a search warrant to look for anhydrous ammonia tanks at a property on Paragon Road.
Okay. Were there 2 properties that were searched for anhydrous tanks?
Yes, there was also a property searched on Carson, just north of Munger, kitty corner from the Munger property.
Okay. I'm going to show you a handful of exhibits, sir. First, exhibit 90. Do you recognize that?
Yes.
Okay. Where's that location?
That is at the barn I searched on Paragon Road.
Okay. And was this photograph taken August 16th, 24?
Yes.
Exhibit 91. What's this?
This is at the same location. This photo was also taken on that date.
Okay. 92.
The same thing, ma'am, on Paragon Road, also taken on that date.
Okay. 93.
This is outside of that barn, the same location, also taken on that date.
Exhibit 94.
The same, ma'am.
Exhibit 95.
The same.
Same date and location?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Exhibit 96.
Same date and location, ma'am.
Okay. Exhibit 97.
Same date and location, just outside of the barn.
Okay. Exhibit 98.
Same date and location inside of that barn.
Exhibit 99.
Same date and location on the outside of the barn.
Okay. Exhibit 100. Okay. What's this?
This is inside of a separate portion of the barn, taken on that same date at that same location on Paragon Road.
Did you make observations on this tank?
Yes, initially it stood out because all of the other tanks were outside and or in the open portion of the barns by one another. However, this tank was by itself in this area.
Okay. Did you make any other observations?
Yes. On the in this image, what would be the back or the left-hand side of the tank, there was a non-factory weld visible from the outside.
Okay. Exhibit 105. I'm going to have you look at that. Is that one of the welds you were just discussing?
Yes, this is that back end of the tank. Obviously, this is the top of the picture is the top end of the tank.
All right. Exhibit 73. Is this another portion of the weld that you observed?
Yeah, so this would be the bottom of the tank, and or if you're going from top to bottom, a continuation going downward from the previous photo.
Okay. I'm going to show you exhibit 101. What's this?
This was a handwritten note that was wire tied to the valve on top of the tank.
When you say the tank, are you referring to tank 34 that was in exhibit 100 that you just detailed?
The previous photos, yes, ma'am.
Okay. And I'm going to hand you exhibit 102. You still have the scissors?
Yes, ma'am.
They don't know that we need to open until the jury wants us to. Okay, what is exhibit 102?
This is that tag that's pictured in this image.
Okay, is there a writing on both sides of that tag?
Yes.
Exhibit 103. What's this?
This is the same tag as a previous image, just depicting the writing on the other side of it.
All right. Exhibit 104.
This is just an overview of that portion of the tank. You can see that tag on the right-hand side.
Okay. And again, all of these photographs were taken on August 16th, 2024.
Yes.
Okay. After you made those observations, what did you do with that tank?
I contacted a tow truck company and I escorted it to the Ambassador Bridge for an x-ray.
I'm going to have you look at exhibit 106. And is that the image you received from the Ambassador Bridge?
That's correct.
Again, this was on that same date that you observed the other tanks, 8/16/2024.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Based on this x-ray, what did you do next?
I escorted the tank to the Michigan State Police Crime Lab in Northville for some preliminary evidence collection. From there, it was escorted to the Monroe Post for secured storage until we could make arrangements to open it the next day.
Did you in fact open it the next day?
Yes, ma'am.
I'm going to have you look at exhibit 107. What's that?
That is that same, actually, that is the opposite end of the tank that I observed the non-factory weld on. We cut basically a window into the tank so we could take some images and gather some, an idea of what was inside of it before we continue cutting it open.
Okay. And this was on August 17th, 2024?
Yes.
All right. What did you observe when you placed that camera inside there?
With the light that I'm holding, you can see inside of the tank that there was something wrapped inside of a blue tarp.
I'm going to show you exhibit 108. Is that what you observed in there?
Yes, ma'am.
Once you made that observation, what did you do?
Once we gathered some videos and photos of it, we then continued opening the tank, essentially almost like a cigar cut, removing that end that we made that pilot hole on.
Okay. And then what?
Once it was open, we were able to remove the object that was wrapped inside of the blue tarp.
Okay. And what was the object inside the tarp?
It was human remains.
What did you do with the human remains?
The remains were escorted to the medical examiner's office to have an autopsy performed.
Do you know if there were any chemicals inside that tank?
Yes.
All right. Describe to me if you can estimate an amount of chemicals in there.
Laying along the bottom of the tank, there may have been a half inch to an inch of what smelled like ammonia.
What about the tank? What was done with the tank?
From there, the tank was escorted to more long-term storage until it could be evaluated at another date.
Okay. Was that tank processed?
Yes.
All right. Was it processed on the 17th or a different day?
It was processed by lab personnel on the 16th and 17th.
Okay. At this time, Your Honor, I would be tendering Detective Dreer to Ms. Charday with the understanding that I am calling him back to actually get into the details of the investigation at a later point.
I'm sorry.
Thank you. Detective Lieutenant Drew, my understanding is you are going to be coming back to the stand and testifying next week. Is that accurate? That's your understanding
yes.
as well.
I don't
Okay.
know
Great.
the question. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, sure. I should have a question mark at the end. Is it your understanding, having just heard Ms. Wise, that you are going to be testifying next week as well?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, I'm going to save my questions for next week. I don't want to bifurcate them. Thank you, sir.
I ask counsel to approach. So I've had a brief discussion with counsel at the bench. My understanding that both sides are in agreement with holding off on any questions from the jurors until Detective Drew has been back to finish his testimony. Is that accurate?
That's correct, Your Honor. That's correct, Your Honor.
All right, Detective Drew, you can step down.
Take these exhibits, Judge.
You can take those. All right, so at this point, we will take a recess. I think there's some technology we need to set up in the courtroom for the next witness, so we will do that, and we'll bring the jury back in when we're ready to proceed. Anything we need to address outside parts of the jury at this point?
Yes, Your Honor. The court previously ruled on a motion for a protective order regarding the autopsy photos. I would ask to amend the order. We want to be able to show the jury the autopsy photos while Dr. Cho testifies. However, we do not want those photographs to be publicized, recorded, or anything, any photographs, live streamed, nothing. So we would ask for a protective order of that.
Okay, I'm just sure.
We're in agreement with that, Your Honor. Thank you.
Okay, the court is permitted by MCR 2.302C, which applies to criminal cases, through MCR 600.001D to issue protective orders to prevent annoyance, embarrassment, or oppression based on my prior review of the photographs that are the subject of people's motion. The court finds that unauthorized proliferation of these images would constitute a significant and irreparable injury to the victim's family based on the nature of those photographs. So I am going to grant that protective order. The decision, I believe, is further grounded in the court's inherent supervisory power over its own records and files to prevent them from becoming a vehicle for improper purposes, as was recognized by the Supreme Court in Nixon versus Warner. Well, I am mindful that this is not a FOIA proceeding. The dignitary privacy interest of survivors has been recognized in National Archives and Records Administration versus Favish, another United States Supreme Court case, which established a compelling interest that the court must weigh against the public's right of access. Again, although that court involved analysis under the Freedom of Information Act, the interest identified by the Supreme Court in that case remains a compelling factor in this case. That interest is further reflected in the public policy of the state of Michigan as codified by the legislature in MCL 333.2855A, which restricts the public display of autopsy photographs except under limited and controlled circumstances. To balance these interests and pursuant to the court's authority under MCR 8.115 to manage the courtroom and conduct and reporting, at this point I am going to order that while the autopsy photographs are available for public viewing as presented in open court, that the physical or digital copying, scanning, or reproduction of these exhibits by any member of the media or any member of the public is prohibited. No person shall use any camera, recording device, or any device of any kind to capture these images while they're being displayed in the courtroom. I don't believe this order is a prior restraint on reporting, as the media remains free to describe evidence and testimony in detail. I think this is narrowly tailored on the reproduction and distribution of sensitive judicial records, which are intended to protect the privacy of the survivors while maintaining the transparency of these criminal proceedings. So that will be the court's order with respect to the autopsy photographs. Anything else we need to address at this point?
No, thank you, Your Honor.
No, thank you.
Okay. We'll take, well, I'm not quite sure how long this break will be because we need to set up the screens for the jury.
Thank you.
All right, are we ready to bring the jury back in?
Yes, Your Honor.
You may. Now, just one moment, be ready. Okay, are we ready to bring the jury in?
Yes, Your Honor.
You may be seated. Okay, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. You can see we've reconfigured things a little bit. That's because the next witness's testimony will be kind of photograph intensive. So, Ms. Wise, you can call your next witness.
The people would call Dr. Patrick Cho.
And before you sit down, I'll ask you to raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth under penalty for perjury?
I do.
Okay, you can sit down.
Good afternoon. Can you please state your full name and spell it for the record?
Yes, good afternoon. Patrick Cho, C-H-O.
And what's your occupation?
I'm a deputy medical examiner,
And where are you a deputy medical examiner at?
Oakland County,
How long have you been doing that?
2007.
You've been in the same place since 2007?
I've been at Oakland County on and off since 2007. I have been a contract medical examiner for Jackson County since then, and most recently Lenawee and Hillsdale County after Dr. Bader Caston passed away. But I also do cases in Bay, Midland, Tuscola, Iosco, and Aranac counties.
Okay. And you've been a medical examiner since 2007, though. Is that accurate?
Correct.
Okay. Approximately how many autopsies do you think you performed?
Well over 6,000 at this point.
Have any of those autopsies you performed been related to homicides?
Yes.
Have you ever been admitted as an expert in any courts in the state of Michigan?
Yes.
Have you ever been denied that?
No. Over 200 times in federal circuit and district courts in 11 different counties.
All right. At this time, Your Honor, I'd move to admit Dr. Patrick Cho as an expert in forensic pathology.
We leave it to the court's discretion. Thank you.
All right, I will so certify Dr. Cho.
On August 20th, 2024, did you perform an autopsy on Dee Ann Warner?
Yes.
How did you identify her body?
So the body was, it was presumed at that point on August 20th. The dental identification came later, verification of Deanne Warner. So that's how it was.
Okay, so on August 20th, 2024, you presumed it was Deanne Warner, but at a later point in time, you were able to confirm it through dental records?
Correct.
All right. And do you know how long that took to confirm the identity?
Offhand, I don't.
All right. When you did the autopsy, I noticed you did an external examination and an internal examination. Is that accurate?
Yes.
All right, let's talk about the external exam observations first. Just give me a brief overview of what you observed when you received her body.
Sure. The body was enclosed in a body bag, as is normal. Once the body bag was opened, the body was actually wrapped in 2 polyethylene tarps that were secured with duct tape. So that was the initial exposure to the body.
Okay. Did you unwrap those two tarps?
Yes.
What did you observe when you unwrapped those?
There was the body of an adult female. The legs were bound with duct tape. The arms were bound to the torso with duct tape. There was duct tape over the nose, mouth, part of the head. And then there was brown, kind of red debris, sludge.
Did the body have any clothing on it?
There were what appeared to be pajamas, top and bottom, and underwear.
When you say appeared to be pajamas, what do you mean?
They looked like just standard ladies' pajamas, but because of the dirt and red, maybe they were light sweats. I don't know,
Okay.
but I thought they were pajamas. So.
Okay. Did you, was there any jewelry on the body of Miss Warner?
Yeah, there were 2 metal posts with clear stones in the right and left ears. Pardon me. And there was a metal ring with clear stone on the right 4th finger.
Did you observe any injuries to the body of Miss Warner?
Once the tape over the head, face, and neck and arms were removed, there were contusions on the right and left cheeks, lateral aspect of the left eye, contusion on the left shoulder. I believe that was it. No, there was a small contusion on the back of the head as well, the scalp.
Did you observe any internal injuries?
Once we completed our external examination, we proceeded with an internal examination, standard Y incision, opening up the abdominal and chest cavities, and then the head. There were obvious blunt force injuries of the left temporal parietal scalp regions and on top of the skull. There were subdural hemorrhages over the brain, so that's indication of blunt force injury. There were contusions about the tongue, not contusions, but bruises about the tongue, and there were petechial hemorrhages on the epiglottis. Yeah.
You used the term epiglottis.
So that's why I was looking at if you
Okay,
wanted me to
I
explain.
do need to know, yes.
The epiglottis is cartilage tissue that overlays, well, while we're talking here, it's in an upright position, but as we chew and swallow food or drink water, it'll close over the windpipe so we don't aspirate. So that's what that was.
Okay. And you use the term contusions. What does that mean?
So bruising, another way of putting
Okay, hemorrhaging.
hemorrhaging within the muscle, yeah.
I'm going to show you some exhibits and kind of have you walk me through what you observed. I'm going to have you get in front of, does that microphone,
You can pull that out.
This?
Yes.
and it doesn't project your voice, it only records. So just make sure you speak into that, please.
Okay.
And then I'm going to have you stand in front of at least this screen over here. Yep, please. And then I'm going to pull up photographs, and when you need to point to something to identify it, just let me know, and I will put a laser on here. All right, I'm going to start with exhibit.
Sorry, I'll speak on the speaker.
Your Honor, Dr. Cho may need to move a little bit today, just so that.
Yes.
Yep. Thank you.
I'm going to first start with exhibit 127. Do you see that?
Yes.
Okay, what is that?
That's the body within the tarp as we received it with the duct tape.
Okay, before you removed it?
Correct.
All right. Exhibit 128.
That's with the tarp being removed from the body and the duct tape around the body.
129.
Same thing.
In this one, you can see the top half of her body as well.
Yes, the head is here.
Okay. 130.
This is with the body bag, the tarp removed, and just the duct tape around the ankles and lower legs.
131.
This is the head, the top of the head, and there's duct tape over the nose and the mouth here.
132.
This is just with the duct tape removed. The teeth, I think prominence of the nose is here.
133.
This is a cleaned up photo of the head. Once we've removed the bag and all of the debris, you can start to see some contusions around the right eye, left cheek.
Your Honor, is it okay if I ask if everybody can see that clearly, or if I need to point anything on we're good? Okay. Exhibit 134.
This is just a same kind of area that's being photographed, but from the left side. So you can see better the contusions that are on the left side of the cheek and the lateral aspect of the left eye.
Exhibit 135.
Left shoulder, there's a contusion on the left shoulder.
136.
Just a panned out shot of the shoulder and the head.
137.
This is the back of the head, and there's an area of contusion that I was pointing to earlier on myself here.
Exhibit 142.
This is an anterior, so front view of the head and neck with the head kind of pulled back. This area is a contusion and abrasion on the anterior part or front of the neck.
Exhibit 144.
This is the metal ring with clear stones I was talking about on the right fourth finger.
And I'm sorry, I didn't hear you. Did you say on the right?
Right.
Right hand,
finger.
okay.
Pardon.
Okay, no, it's okay. I'm going to move to the internal injuries. I'm going to have you look at exhibit 138.
So this is the top of the head with the scalp reflected back, and we're seeing the top of the skull. This area here is a contusion that's on the skull, so we call that a subgaleal contusion. This is on the undersurface of the scalp, so that's a subcutaneous contusion. More of the same on the back of the head as well.
139.
This is the right side of the head, showing very much the same thing. So on the surface of the skull, there's some contusion, and then on the undersurface of the scalp, there are contusions in that area.
$140.
Just a close-up on the left side, really highlighting the hemorrhage that's on the surface of the skull, as well as on the undersurface of the scalp, all indicative of blunt force injury.
141.
This is with the top of the skull removed. This is the surface of the brain, and there's all this residual subdural hemorrhage. So there's been bleeding on the surface of the brain from blunt force injury.
143.
So the epiglottis that I had talked about before, that flap, this is the epiglottis here. And what you'll notice are these petechial hemorrhages here. Those hemorrhages shouldn't be there. And there's also bruising on the back of the tongue, as I had mentioned, around the areas, but that's the petechial hemorrhages.
So you use the word petechial hemorrhaging. What does that mean in layman terms?
So petechiae are just pinpoint hemorrhages that occur when there's been intense pressure. And we're talking about the vascular system here. So vessels are carrying blood, and when constricted or compressed, it's just like a hose. The water or the fluid is going to want to go to the path of least resistance. So in this case, the blood will go to the smaller arteries until and vessels until there's an endpoint, and then there's nowhere to go, so it'll burst. And that's what gives us those petechial hemorrhages.
When you discussed the bruising under the scalp on the left side,
Yes.
and had the scalp pulled back to look at it?
Yes.
Okay. Would those injuries necessarily cause the skin to break open?
Not necessarily.
Okay. And tell me about the internal. I'm going to go ahead and have you can take the stand again. And if I need to show you an additional picture, I will. So the photograph of, it's exhibit 141 where the brain bleed that you described. How does that happen? Like, right. How is there a blood on the brain in between the, is it in between the skull and the, where's that located?
So the brain, our brains are covered by dura. It's fibrous tissue. And there are small bridging veins between the surface of the brain and the dura that go through the dura. So when there's blunt force injury to the head, strong enough to tear those bridging veins, that's what will give us that subdural hemorrhage. So it's a subdural, meaning sub, under the dura, but on top of the surface of the brain. I don't know if that was clear.
I think so.
Yeah.
Is there anything about that injury, the brain bleed, that you saw evidence that it would bleed outside of the scalp, if that makes sense?
Yeah, no. So there were no skull fractures. So no, it would stay contained in that space.
Okay. Were you able to determine a cause of death in this case?
Yes.
And what was that?
Strangulation and multiple blunt force injuries of head and face, I guess.
Okay, so you came to two separate causes of death?
They both contributed, yes.
Okay, could either one of them independently have caused her death?
Yes.
Were you able to determine the manner of death?
Yes.
And what was that?
Homicide.
Did you also do toxicology in this case?
Yes.
Was there any evidence of oxycodone in Miss Warner's body?
No.
As a result of doing the autopsy on Miss Warner, are you required to sign a death certificate?
The chief medical examiner signs the death certificate.
Okay.
I author a report.
All right. And who was the chief medical examiner in Lenawee County?
Dr. John Maino. M-A-I-N-O.
Okay.
Sorry.
And was, oh, thank you. Was one done in this case?
Yes.
Were you able to determine, well, let me ask you this. CSI, Law and Order, they'd have you believe when you find a body, within 20 minutes, you know the exact date, the exact time of death. Is that how that works?
No.
Okay, can you explain that to me? How do you determine date of death?
A lot of it's multifactorial. It's based on investigation, last known alive, body condition, all of that.
Okay, and in this case, People's Exhibit 259. Oh, you can't see that, can you?
I can walk up. Should I go?
No, I'm going to come to you. I tried to move it.
Mm-hmm. Oh, death certificate. Yes.
Is it cause or the date of death on there?
Date pronounced is August 17th.
It's
Date
up
of
here, you
death.
can't see.
Oh, it's scrolled up. Yep. On or about April 25th, 2021. Yeah.
I'm going to ask you that again since I'm back here.
Yep.
So the date of death on the death certificate,
Is on or about April 25th, 2021.
was there anything about the condition of Miss Warner's body that made you believe she could not have died on or after April 25th, 2021?
No.
Okay. She looked a little bit, when I look at the pictures, I'm kind of shocked to see the way her feet are bound, she looks somewhat fairly well preserved. Can you tell me why that's not a concern for you?
No, I mean, it was a sealed tank. There was presumably little to no oxygen in it since it's an ammonia tank, anhydrous. So if it was water, H2O, there's your oxygen source that would speed up decomposition, but didn't seem to be any of that. So.
Okay, and why does it matter? So the oxygen would speed up decomposition?
Yep, I mean, ammonia will too, but obviously at a slower rate.
Okay. The lack of oxygen, again, would lead you to not question her date of death as being April 25th, 2021 or later?
No.
Okay. I have nothing further.
And we're going to make our way back over.
Okay.
Thank you. Yeah, there's nothing else there. Dr. Cho, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
My name is Mary Chartier. I represent Mr. Warner, and I have some questions for you this afternoon. So I want to pick up where you left off, where you were talking about the date of death was on or about April 25th, 2021. And you said two things factor into that determination: an investigation and then the body condition. Is that accurate?
Yeah.
So the investigation entails what? Is it people telling you the last time I saw her was this day or this time? How does the investigation factor in?
Sure. That information is presented to me usually by law enforcement, last known alive, reporting as such. So we're not an investigative entity. So that's why we rely on outside sources.
If someone hadn't told you that, if someone had not told you
Mhm.
the last time that Ms. Warner was seen alive was roughly April 24th or April 25th, 2021, what would you have determined the date of death to be?
I'm not sure I understand that.
Sure. So let's imagine that this body was found. No one knows who she is.
Right.
And so you don't have any law enforcement officer telling you anything about last time seen.
I see.
What would you determine the date of death to have been?
Yeah, for me, I would have to say unknown.
So the body condition of Ms. Warner, independent of the investigation, would not give you a date, a month, a year?
No.
Okay, thank you. So that was my question. And then you indicated in your analysis that the time of death was unknown. Is that accurate?
Correct.
And that's because you can't tell that by the body condition.
Correct.
And also that the place of death was unknown, correct?
Correct.
And that's because you can't tell that, again, based on your analysis and the body condition.
Correct.
You had indicated that there can be two causes of death: strangulation and then blunt force trauma, correct?
Correct.
Can you tell what was the cause of death, or both contributed to death?
Both contributed.
Both contributed.
Yes.
Now, with strangulation, there may be a loss of bodily fluids. Is that accurate?
Possibly, yeah.
And that would be, for instance, urine or bowels, correct?
Correct.
With blunt force injury, you indicated that the brain bleed would not cause external bleeding, correct? Or am I wrong about that?
No, I think the question I was answering was, what I thought I was answering was a subdural hemorrhage. Would there necessarily be an external source of bleeding or bleeding from that? So, as I said, you can get a subdural hemorrhage without a skull fracture.
So
I'm not sure I'm answering your question.
So that's okay. I will ask maybe a more particular question. With the injuries that you noted on Ms. Warner, could any of them have caused external bleeding?
So can you specifically cite which injury you're referring to?
Any injury on her body, any contusion,
Sure.
any injury.
So any of the contusions that are visible, there could be external bleeding.
And with the brain bleed, or the strangulation, is there any chance, for example, of bleeding from the nose, from the mouth, anything like that?
I suppose it's possible.
Do you know the instrument that caused the blunt force trauma?
No.
Moving on to the body, when you examine the body, was there an odor emanating beyond what you would expect with body decomposition?
Sure.
And what was that?
Ammonia.
Was it overpowering?
At times, yes.
And that odor might sound like a basic question. That is not a natural odor that a person has when they pass away. That, you believe, was a chemical from inside the tank?
Well, if an individual, so if I were to pass away in a house that's abandoned and somebody comes upon me later, there would be a strong smell of ammonia from that. But in this case, with the environment of the tank, there's no way to discern. I'm not sure I'm asked.
No, you are. That was it. So the overpowering at times ammonia odor, you don't know if that was from Ms. Warner, the anhydrous ammonia in the tank, or a combination of both?
It's more than likely from the tank.
More than likely from the tank.
Yeah.
From the chemicals in the tank?
Absolutely.
And then because of the ammonia, in looking at your analysis, there was tissue breakdown due to prolonged exposure to ammonia?
Some, yes.
And some facial features and landmarks were also absent because of the prolonged ammonia exposure?
Sure, and the tape, yeah.
Do you know are there studies about what prolonged ammonia exposure does to a body?
Not that I know of.
Not that I could find either. I didn't know if you knew any.
No.
And then we saw some red or brown mud-like substance. What was that?
I don't know. I mean, I presume that it might be some dirt mixed with some fluids, but I don't know.
But so the answer is you don't know. Setting aside your presumption, you do not know.
Correct.
Now, was there any rigor mortis when you examined Ms. Warner?
No.
Talk to us about that. When does rigor mortis set in?
Generally, after a couple of hours. It should be present under normal environmental conditions for up to 24 hours. It'll start to break, and then will go away.
What is rigor mortis?
It's the stiffening of our muscles after death.
So if someone is in rigor mortis, can you move their body in terms of like bending it and things like that?
Sure.
And what would that do to the condition of the body?
Nothing.
Would it cause any sort of indication of injury, break a bone, anything like that?
Sometimes, I mean, if you have a really brittle osteoporotic person, it could.
Now, if a body is placed in a certain position
Mhm.
when they're in rigor mortis, and then the rigor mortis lapses, what would be the impact of that?
The body would just stay in that position.
The body would stay in that one position.
Correct.
I want to talk to you about the clothing that you had indicated were pajamas, but also indicated it might be a sweatsuit, correct?
Correct.
So what particular pieces of clothing did you find?
Top and bottom, pajamas, and underwear.
In underwear. So are you talking about a bra, or are you talking about underwear?
Underwear.
Underwear. So underwear, so bottoms and top. Was the top crew neck, hoodie? What was the top?
I don't recall.
You don't recall?
No.
Would looking at a photograph help
Sure.
refresh your memory? Ms. Saylor, would you show Dr. Cho 1413, please? $14.13. And if you could just take it up to him. Well, if you just can show him, let's see. Oh, great. 16, 14, 14. Without my glasses, I put the 0 as a 1. There are some other photographs if those would be helpful as well, if you'd like to scan through
You're
those.
speaking of the ones on the left of the screen.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Did that help refresh your memory?
Yeah.
Okay, so what was the top?
From that, I can't even tell. I mean, it's just hanging down.
Okay. So would you like to look at other photographs to help refresh your memory?
Sure.
Ms. Saylor, why don't you show him photographs? All of them, and see if that helps.
Presumably, these are the pants that are hanging over. Oh, you can go. Yeah, please do. I'm not sure. I mean, I'm not sure. I can't tell where the top part of the clothing is.
Okay, thank you, Ms.
It's pretty
Saylor. So the clothing, let me jump back. Was the clothing cut off, Ms. Warner?
It could have been. Sometimes when it's difficult to remove from the body, we will cut.
And so again, you found underwear,
Mhm.
earrings, a ring, a pair of lounge pants.
Mhm.
So they could be pajamas, it could be sweatsuit, could
Sure.
be loungewear. You don't know, correct?
Sure.
And then a top that again, you don't know if it's a crew neck, a hoodie, anything like that, correct?
Correct. I mean, as I said, it looked like a set of pajamas to me, but
Thank you. Now, you talked about doing a toxicology report.
Mhm.
What impact would the delay in doing the analysis have on what you could find doing the toxicology report?
well, the laboratory was able to test it, so not much impact at all.
So you didn't do the testing yourself?
No. We will collect samples and they'll be sent out to a national laboratory, and then we wait for the results.
So you looked at the results, but again, you didn't do the testing, correct?
Correct.
Now, finally, with everything that you did, you identified what you believe to be the causes of death and the manner of death. You don't know who the perpetrator was, correct?
Correct.
I have no additional questions. Thank you, sir.
Again, you've been doing this since 2007,
Yes.
and a common practice is to rely on the investigation when you're dealing with date of death.
Always.
I was a little bit confused because you said it earlier and then again on cross-examination. So you said both the strangulation and the blunt force trauma contributed to her cause of death. What does that mean?
Either could have caused it.
Either independently could have caused her death.
Correct.
Okay. And you were asked if you could determine what type of instrument was used. Is that correct?
Correct.
Does it necessarily, I mean, could it have been a wall or a table or a floor or any of those things?
Yes.
The brownish red substance that was on Miss Warner's body, have you ever seen anything like that?
Not off the top of my head, no.
Thank you. Nothing further.
Nothing additional, thank you.
We do have one question from the jury, if you would approach. Okay, is it possible that contusions can be from moving the body after death?
No. Do you want me to explain? Or just simply no?
It's a question from the juror, so Ms. Wise, do you have any follow-up based on that question?
I would just follow up and ask him to explain that.
So the contusions form because of a vital reaction that we have to that injury. So if I'm dead, die, and somebody smacks my head, my heart isn't beating any blood. So there's no response to that injury.
What about the brain bleed? Is that the same
Same thing.
thing? Okay, thank you.
Nothing additional, thank you.
Okay, and may Dr. Cho be excused from his speech?
Yes, Your Honor. Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, thank you for your time, sir. You're free to go.
Thank you.
Oh, I'm sorry. I apologize.
No worries.
Question was being written while we were talking.
Yes. That's okay.
Can you tell if the body was killed inside or outside?
No.
Anything in follow-up to that?
No follow-up, Your Honor.
No, thank you, Your Honor.
Okay. You all set with questions from our jurors? Don't see anyone writing, so okay. All right, thank you. So you're all
Thank
free.
you.
Okay, it is 4:04. I don't anticipate you want to start a new witness at this point. Is that
No,
it?
Your Honor.
All right, we will adjourn then to tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. I will say for the jury and for everyone else, there is a sentencing hearing tomorrow morning that I expect to take longer than normal. So I'll ask you to be here at 9 a.m., but there might be a little bit of waiting in terms of getting that hearing completed, and we will get started as soon as we can. Okay, thank you for your time. Oh, yeah, I'm sorry, in front of him. still gonna miss it. Good Lord. All right, so during the trial, do not read, listen to, or watch any news reports about the case. Under the law, the evidence that you consider to decide the case must meet certain standards. For example, witnesses must swear to tell the truth, and the lawyers must be able to cross-examine them. Because news reports do not have to meet these standards, they could give you incorrect or misleading information that might unfairly favor one side. So to be fair to both sides, please follow this instruction. Thank you very much, and we'll see you tomorrow morning. Okay, Ms. Wise, Mr. McCready, I have the photographs if you want those back. All right, anything else we need to address before we adjourn for the day?
No, thank you, Your Honor.
Okay, thank you very much. Court will be in recess.
I'll tell you the one thing about this, they definitely have some short days with the jury. Nothing is really like, they don't have any long days here, guys, at all. Like, they start late and then it's like 3 hours worrying about what the jury doing and all this extra stuff. Are we going over to Discord to watch the third session? Y'all can let me know on Discord or chat it in the chat. I'm gonna go ahead and play our outro song and then we can get set up over there. If y'all want to watch the last episode, I don't know. Y'all let me know. Yeah, I think we got one episode left.
When Sweet Pea taps in, you know the courtroom lights go bright. Trials running long, but the family.
It's terribly written. It looks like they wrote it on the back of a napkin.
A napkin, you say? These guys want to.